Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie and let's get started. For DIY number 1, I'm going to begin with one of these skeleton mermaids. I got this one last year. Hopefully they'll have them again. Here's the SKU. And I'm going to remove the elastic on top and this little hanging piece. We're not going to need it. Now I'm going to take some of this dragonfly glaze by Folk Art. It's the color changing color shift paint. It's really cool. I love using it. So pretty. And I'm just going to do a light coat on all of her, all over the place, like this. Allow this to dry completely, and she'll be real shimmery when she's dry. Now here she is, nice and dry, and look how pretty. So now I'm going to take some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to snip off a nice little piece. Boy, this stuff makes a mess, huh? You gotta love crafting when you're using Spanish moss, I tell you that. So I'm going to take some hot glue and kind of slather it all over her head. And I'm going to carefully give her little hair and using my silicone spatula because this glue can get hot. So I'm just going to press it on. That way it don't come off. And I'm thinking she needs more hair than that. She's not looking cute yet. So I'm going to take another glob of this Spanish moss and give her a nice long piece on the back. Add some more hot glue and place her hair down in it like this. And using my silicone spatula to press everything down. And now she's looking a little bit better. So now I'm going to take some of these little shells from the Dollar Tree. These were available in the summertime. And thankfully I did grab some. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And I'm just going to give her like a little, not a barrette, but a little hair piece with a couple of these little shells. And then a little pearl that I had in my stash, which you'll see more pearls in a little bit. I'm just going to add a dab of glue, place it on my tweezers. And just like that, give her a little headpiece. Now she's ready to go. She's super cute. I'm going to set her aside. And I'm going to take this bowl and add some water. And I'm going to use some of these water beads. I got these off of Amazon. And I wasn't sure how many to use. So I just added what I thought I would need. Now these particular ones, you have to wait quite a while for them to absorb the water and grow. But I did wait about 2 hours. So I thought that was good enough. So you'll see that in a little bit. And I didn't show, but I also used some clear ones that I had in my stash. Now here I picked up this long vase from the Dollar Tree Plus. It was $3. I thought it was totally worth it because it's a nice big size. Now here I have some leftover sea glass from last year. But if you don't have that, you can use these glass gems as well. Those are always available at the Dollar Tree. But I think they'll bring these back as well. These are cute. So I'm just going to add some of the big ones, which are the green ones. Place those in the bottom. And then I had very little of the light blue and just one of the royal blue. So I just did what I could to kind of fill up the very bottom. I didn't want to fill it up too much because we need space for her to get in there. Okay, so now these little beads are ready. It took about a couple hours. So I'm just going to place these on the very bottom because I want the bottom to be nice and thick. Now I'm just going to shake it around. That way these beads go to the very bottom, these water beads. And I'll put this aside for later. So now here I'm going to take some of these little shells, put those in the bottom. Because there's always shells at the bottom of the ocean. And here is my jug of my clear water beads. I think I did too many on these. Added some of those, and now I'm going to add some of these pearls. These are also from the Dollar Tree. Added some more of the shells, and I'm just going to layer doing the clear beads, the clear water beads, the pearls, the shells, the clear water beads, the pearls, the shells, quite a few times until I get close to the top. Now I'm going to finish up with some of these colorful ones, these blue and green ones on the very top. Now I'm going to add her in there, kind of like wiggle her in there. She fits in there perfectly, like she's just lounging in there. And I'll just add some more of these colorful ones. And now I'll go ahead and add the water. And here comes the magic. You'll see in the center where the clear water beads are that it'll disappear. So it looks like she's just floating in there, and all her embellishments are floating in there. And see, she's not too spooky. Here's how she looks. For DIY number 2, I am taking one of these little doll houses from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go in with some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, paint it all except for the little door. I'm going to leave it purple. And now I'm taking some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color steel and my chippy brush, and I'm going to take my time and just distress this whole piece. Make it look a little spooky, like it's been haunted, you know, like give it that look. So I just go ahead and do this whole piece on the top, on the front, on the sides. I don't do the inside because you're not going to see it. It's going to be glued onto a board. So I just go ahead and get this whole thing distressed, make it look spooky. And now here's my board. I'm taking one of these 3-in-1 board games. And so these are made out of wood. Yes, they are. So it's pretty cool. Brings all these little wood pieces as well, but I don't end up using them, but I'll definitely save them for other future projects. So now this backgammon side is the side I'm going to paint. I'm going to leave the checker part alone. Kind of reminds me of Mackenzie Childs, and maybe I'll do something later with it. I don't know. So I'm going to go in with some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and also some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color steel. And I'll use my chippy brush and distress this whole piece as well to get it to look like this. Let that dry. And now I'm taking some of my little wooden letters from the Dollar Tree, and I chose to do Boo. And with the brush that I used to apply the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, I'm just going to use the same brush that has a little bit of black paint in it and some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color steel, and let them mix together and give it that spooky look. And I'm using a bamboo skewer to keep my fingers from getting all painted up, but you'll see in a minute how cute this looks with the 2 different colors paints mixed together. It gives it a really cute look. And now I'm taking 2 of these smaller craft sticks, and I'm just snipping off the ends and then cutting them in half, and I'll paint these with that same paintbrush to give it that same look as the letters. So I'll just go ahead and paint these up until they're all painted like this. And now I'll begin to assemble. I'll place my little board on a bottle of water to help it raise up a little bit. And I'm just going to add some glue to the sides, to the edges, like this, in the center. And I try to work quickly so the glue doesn't dry on me. And I'll just place this on the board like this. Look at that, looks spooky. And now I'm going to add my little craft sticks onto the top windows to board it up, because, you know, haunted houses are a little bit scary. You got to board them up. You got to board up the top, the second floor, or the attic, because that's where the ghosts are, right? And here I just glue my Boo. And then I didn't show it, but I had this piece that belonged to a DIY wind chime, and I just painted it with orange and yellow, and I glued that on there as my moon, my spooky eerie moon. And here's a branch that I had on hand, and some of these leaves. They're kind of like black maple leaves, but you know, I thought, well, you know, why not make it look cute. And now all I have to do is close my little door. So I just use a bamboo skewer to close it, and look. For DIY number 3 and number 4, I'm taking 2 of these witch and cauldron wood plaques from the Dollar Tree and some chalk paint, and I'm going to paint it all except for the second cauldron. I'll just paint the outline because I'm going to glue them together like this. So once I place some glue and adhere them together, they look like there's 2 witches stirring the same cauldron. Spooky. Spooky. So now that they're adhered, I'm going to take some of these florals and I'm going to cut off these like branch looking pieces, and I'm going to assemble them together and place them on the back and adhere them to the back with a little bit of hot glue and also a tumbling tower, actually a couple tumbling tower blocks, just to keep it secure. And I was going to use a craft stick to do this, but you'll see why I decided to use some tumbling tower blocks, because I kind of need these two witches to be raised, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So I'll add these two tumbling tower blocks to help secure these florals in place. Okay, so now once that's done and that's dry and adhered, I'm taking a set of these window clings from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just taking this cauldron picture, and look at this. It fits perfectly on here. Almost perfect. Look at that. So now I'm going to go in with some of the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and I'll adhere it to these wood plaques until it looks like this. Look at this. So cute. Press all the bubbles out as much as you can, but if you don't, it's okay. This will look a little bit authentic with the bubbles. So here I'm going in with some of this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and it's like a glittery purple and orange ribbon, but the glitter doesn't come off, so it's pretty good ribbon. And I'm going to use some of this ribbon to give the hats and the bottom of their dresses a little bit of color, a little bit of embellishment. So I'll add purple onto one of the witches, and I'll do orange onto the other, and I'll just hot glue them in place like this. And these ribbons they're made very well, so you won't even see the glue lines or anything. I think the sparkles in it help that. And now I'll do the hats like this and just kind of wrap it around to the back, and I'll do both. And look at that. So now they have coordinating hats with their dresses. Have to make it cute. So now I'm going to add a couple more of these tumbling tower blocks, and like I mentioned earlier, I want this piece raised, and you'll see that this will help. So I add another couple of tumbling tower blocks to make it a little bit more raised. So here I'm taking a pizza pan, and I'm taking my bright yellow apple barrel paint, and I'm going to paint this up like this. And I do add a little bit of orange as well. And look at this. This is going to be my moon, my big spooky moon. So I'm just going to hot glue this piece onto the pizza pan, and you'll see the full look in a minute after this other DIY. I'm taking 3 of these foam dice, and I'm just going to paint them with some black chalk paint. And then I'm going to take these stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're the white stickers with a black outline, and I'm just going to put these stickers on there to form the word boo. And now I'm going to take some of this Halloween transparent ribbon, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap the blocks with it. And if you look closely, this ribbon has kind of a spider web kind of look to it, like a design on it. So I'm just going to wrap this around the blocks and hot glue them in place. And I'm also going to take some more of this ribbon, cinch to center, and create a bow. Take a little piece of floral wire and attach it like this. Fluff it up a little bit, and take another piece to make the tails, and I just cut it on the diagonal and place them all together with another piece of wire until I have a full bow. And now all I do is glue it onto the top of my whole piece. And so I could have stopped here, but no, I wanted to take one of these flowers, these roses. They're the Halloween roses with the eyeball on them, and just place one in the center of the bow. And I could stop here, but no. Had to take one of these transparent soap dishes from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to hot glue the whole piece onto it as a base. And look at that. For DIY number 5, I'm taking 2 of these haunted house plaques and a pack of the wooden planks. And I was going to use the craft sticks, but I ended up not using them. So I'll begin by removing the packaging off of these plaques, these haunted house plaques, and I'm going to use 4 of the planks. And all I'm going to do is add a bead of glue to the bottom of this haunted house plaque, and I'm going to add one of these planks, and it almost fits perfectly. Look at that. And I'm going to do the same to the sides. Look at that. So most likely the other haunted house plaques that are out there, you most likely won't be able to do this because they're really odd shape. But this one is more kind of a rectangular kind of shape. So these wooden planks work really well. And this regular hot glue that I'm using works well enough because this is just balsa wood. And the balsa wood does pretty well with just hot glue. And plus I'll be reinforcing the inside with some more glue, which you'll see here in a second. So here I'm just trying to get it to fit just right. And so now here I'm going to reinforce all the seams with more hot glue. And now I'm going to add my last piece of plank. And again, I haven't had to cut a thing, so this works really well. So one more bead of glue, and I'll just add it on there. And I do reinforce it as well, like this. And once I get this done, then I'll make sure that the other piece is going to fit just right. And the top of the chimneys are a little bit odd, so you have to make sure that you get the right side on there. So it does fit perfectly. So now I'm going to go in with some of my Waverly chalk paint in the colors ink and elephant. But first I'll begin with ink. And I'll paint it up like this. And so once it's all painted, and I painted everything inside, outside, everything. And now I'll go ahead and hot glue this piece, make sure it's on the right side. I want the chimneys to match. And I'll just do a couple of dabs of glue on the corners. I don't have to do a whole bead of glue because the corners would be good enough. So now here, look at that. Perfect. I've got my own little 3D haunted house. So cute. Okay, so now I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant, and with my chunky chippy brush I'm going to distress all the edges, and I want to make it to look very old and weathered and neglected and haunted. All that fun stuff. And I'll go along all the edges, and I'll do all the windows and the door. And then of course I do the sides and the back and the bottom and everything that I can get my hands on. I will go in with this Waverly chalk paint and make it look spooky. Spooky, spooky, spooky. So now I'm pretty much happy with the way it's looking. And I do a little bit on the very top, just a little tiny bit, just to keep that look. And I'll just keep working it until it looks like this. Just look how cute and how spooky. But we have to embellish it a little bit, so I'm going to set this aside so it'll dry. And now I'm taking this pack of little ghosts from the Crafter Square, and I'm going to use 5 of them. And if you're wondering why I use 5, it's because I have 5 grandchildren. I'm not saying that my grandchildren are spooky, but I like to do DIYs that kind of represent my grandchildren. Okay, so here I am filling the holes with some hot glue, and I'm just going to put my silicone spatula on the back and filling it with glue and then getting it nice and smooth. And I do this to all 5. And now I'll go in with my Waverly chalk paint in the color white, and now I'll stress with my Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant. And real lightly I will go over all the edges the same way as I did with the haunted house, and then all the surfaces until they look like this. And now I'm ready to embellish my little haunted house with my little ghosts. And all I'm going to do is just hot glue each ghost coming out of one of the windows, because isn't that what they do? They come out of the windows. Now, even though the ghosts are a little bit big for this haunted house, I'm gonna make it work. Look at this. This is just so cute. Oh my goodness, look at this. Okay, so I have 4 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. So you'll see what I do with my granddaughter towards the end. But look how cute. Oh my goodness. So now I'm going to go in with some of these lights, these LED lights, and they're the color orange. I added batteries to them, and that's why I needed that little gap on the side of my haunted house, because I'm going to put my lights through there. And that's pretty much it. For DIY number 6, these wall shelves from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use everything that's included, including the string and the ring, and I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk pen in the color ink, and now I'm going to dry brush with the color plaster from Waverly. And I'm just going to make sure to cover everything because I will be using this as a shelf. So I want to make sure that both sides are nice and cohesive. And we'll set this aside, allow it to dry. In the meantime, we had a storm come through, as we do every day in the summer, and a big branch fell off our tree. And so my husband cut these logs for me, and I went in with this white spray paint, and now I'm going to go in with this Waverly chalk pen in the color ink, and I'm going to paint on their little faces. I'm just doing dots, like huge dots, and you can do whatever you want as far as pattern for their faces. I just wanted to keep it simple, and I think this just looks super cute, like little haunted logs. Look how cute. Made them a little bit different. Now I'm going to go in with some of this Elmer's wood glue and some hot glue, and I'm going to adhere them on this shelf. So I'm first going to do a nice round of the wood glue and a good dollop or dab of the hot glue for immediate hold. And once it's dry and cured, then I go underneath and I'll use those little screws that I have on the left side, and I'll secure them on the underneath. And I did that off camera. And here's how they look with a little bow on the mama's head. For DIY number 7, I'm going to do a resin project, and I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and a piece of parchment paper and this silicone mold that I got from Amazon, and I'm going to repurpose these 2 cups that are from my grandson's gelatin, and I'm going to use this brand of resin. I've used it before and it works pretty well, and it's just a 1-to-1 ratio. So first I'm going to add the resin itself, and I'm just going to add a small amount in each cup, just like this. And I'm going to take some of these mica powders that I got from Amazon. They are like a magical looking kind of color changing mica powders. So I'm going to use this purple one, and I'm just going to add a little bit inside my cup with the resin. I don't really measure, I just add a little bit. Close it up. And then I'm going to add this blue one. I think these colors are beautiful. They also have some reddish ones, but I wanted to use the purple and the blue. This one here is a mixture of gold, green, and blue. And I'm going to take some craft sticks and stir it up. And if you're wondering why I'm not wearing gloves, I will, since we do the hardener. So for now, I'm just going to stir these up real quick. And this kind of resin, I have about 40 minutes to do my work, to work with it. So here are my gloves. Here's a hardener. Now I can add the hardener, and again, it's the same amount as the resin that I added. So I just have to be careful to add the same amount. And now I can mix it up, and from this moment on I have 40 minutes to do whatever I want with this resin before it begins to harden and cure. So here I'm just doing a good mix, and I start pouring on 3 of my little kitty cats, and I'm just taking my time to pour it because this mold with the cats, it has pretty detailed legs, tails, and then the ears, and so I want to make sure that it has plenty of time to move down into all those crevices. That way it has a full body and not missing a tail, missing some legs, and so forth. So here are 2. And I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do 3 of the blue, and then I'm going to do 3 of the purple. This one's actually the purple, I think, even though it looks blue. I'm just taking my time, shaking it, shimmying it a little bit. Here's my last one. And just shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Try to get it in there. Now the Dollar Tree does have some resin now, and the silicone molds. And if you're lucky enough to find it, this is basically the same way to use it. You just mix the 2 parts, and then add it to your silicone molds, and then allow it to dry and cure. I allowed this to dry and cure overnight. That was perfectly fine for these. They're not pretty thick, they're just thin pieces of resin that these cats will be like the final result. It'll be thin little cats. So it worked out perfectly. Okay, here's my last one. Just pouring it gently and slowly. And the rest of the resin that's in my cups I ended up using for other pieces for another video. You'll see that later at another time. But yeah, I didn't waste a thing. And so I'm pretty happy with this. Now I'm going to set this aside and allow this to dry and cure overnight. Now I'm going to repurpose 6 of these wee yogurt cups. They're made out of glass. I have 6 here, but I ended up just doing 5. So I'm going to remove all these labels, and then I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol and then a little bit of Glue Gun to get rid of all the adhesive that's on there. Put these aside. Now here are my little kitties. They're all nice and set. I'm going to add some rubbing alcohol just to remove any residue that might be on there, and then wipe it off with a baby wipe. Now I'm going to unmold them, and look how cute. Oh my goodness, they are so cute. And you can do these any color. I just chose these 2 colors. I just thought they looked a little magical, kind of. But you can definitely do black, you could do white, you can do whatever color you like. I just like that sparkly look, because we're going to make little luminaries, little luminary jars. That's what the jars are for. So here's another one. They all came out really, really good. I'm really happy with them. And here's my last one. Yeah, this one I need to trim a little bit. The resin went over just a little bit, and it's still pliable enough that I can snip off the excess. So that works great. Now on Amazon, I found the lids that go to these jars, and I found them in the black. And so I thought that would be perfect, because I'm going to be using some of the black Dollar Tree candle holders to display these. So now I'm going to take some Fix All from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add some to the bottom of the kitties and a little bit of hot glue to adhere these onto the inside of the jar lids like this. Now I don't show it, but on the shorter cats, they sat a little bit too low for this, so I ended up just adding a couple of pieces of wood, little wood pieces, to elevate it just a little bit. But right here you don't see that, but I ended up doing that a little bit later when I was assembling everything. And I noticed that the shorter kitties really couldn't see them very well, so I took them apart and I just added a few little pieces of wood, and that worked. Okay, so now I'm going to flip over my jars, and I'm going to use some more of this Fix All, and I'm going to adhere some of these mini crystal knobs. I get them from Amazon. I've used them several times for cloches and things, and I'm just going to adhere it with this Fix All onto the tops or bottoms of these jars like this. Allow these to set and cure as well. Now I'm going to take some of these fairy lights from Amazon. I like them better than the Dollar Tree because they already have the batteries in them, and the little battery pack is easier to hide and conceal. And actually, price point, they're actually better than the Dollar Tree ones. So all I'm going to do is take these lights, turn them on so I know where I'm going to place them. And I'm just going to put the little battery pack underneath the lid for the moment. Place the battery pack underneath the lid. And then I'm going to add a few little pieces of some polyfill just to make it look a little bit spooky, a little bit eerie. And add some inside of my little cloche from the jars, and then put it all together, push all the lights in there, and then just press it down and click. It's done. And I ended up doing 5 of these instead of 6, and here's how they look. For DIY number 8, I am taking one of these wooden wicked plaques from the Dollar Tree, removing the twine, and I'm going to fill in the little holes again the same way. I mean, you can do spackle or filler, wood filler, whatever, but I feel like I'm going to go ahead and paint it, so I might as well just fill it real quick and easy way, and just some hot glue. It usually works out pretty well, and it does a good job, so might as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go with some of the Apple Barrel Kelly Green paint, and I'm just going to paint the word wicked. And then I'll take my apple barrel paint in the color yellow to paint the moon, and then I paint the hat and the broomstick black. I didn't show it, but I did. I painted it black. Okay, so now I'm taking this hula skirt and I'm going to take a nice little piece of it, the jute twine, pull enough jute twine through, make sure I don't lose any pieces, like this. And now I'll just pull it straight and I'll give it a nice haircut, a little trim. Just leave about 2-3 inches and trim off the rest, because this is going to be my broom head to my broom, to my witch's broom. So I'm just going to tie the jute twine around it and secure it in place, and then I'll get the excess jute twine and I'll wrap it again to the front where the broom head strings would be at. So my jute twine will be the broom head strings, like this, just to kind of cinch it and give it that broom look. And I'll secure it in place and tie it a good, I don't know, I think 2-3 times I tied it tight and did a good double or triple knot. Want to make sure it doesn't come apart. And I removed all the excess jute twine once I got done. And I didn't show it, but I did go in with some of the elephant chalk paint on the bristles themselves, because a witch's broom is not pretty. No, it's dirty. But yeah, I did that later on and I didn't show it. It was off camera. Okay, so now I'm taking some of these brown tumbling tower blocks. They came this way. It's one of the older packs where some of them came brown. And I'm just adding a few here and there to give my plaque a little bit of height, a little bit of depth, because this is going to be kind of floating. So like this. So now I'm going to take a pizza pan and with my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, paint it black. And once it's dry, all I have to do now is add hot glue to the tumbling tower blocks and adhere it to my pizza pan like this to give it that 2D look. Is it 2D or 3D? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so now I'm going to take some of my elephant chalk paint and I'm going to distress my little hat because it's kind of lost in all the black. So I'm just going to do a little bit of distressing on the edges, and I'll do the broomstick as well. And then right after this is when I add some of this paint to the broom head, but I didn't show it. It was off camera. So I just keep distressing this until I get it looking like I want it. I just don't want it to look the same as the pizza pan. I want it to be a little bit different. Besides, the witch's hat and the witch's broom, yeah, they're dirty too. So now I feel like it needs a little something something. So I'm taking some of this beautiful ribbon. It's the Halloween ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This is actually what I had left over from last year. I haven't seen it yet in the stores again, but I'm sure it'll be coming back. It's a really pretty ribbon, kind of looks like spider webs. So I'm just going to tie a quick bow. And when you do a bow tie like this, you just have to keep finagling it and keep working it and get it to shape the way you want it. So you just pull it tight, fluff up the ribbon, pull the ends, and then keep working it until you get it the way you want it. And so here I'm going to also dovetail the ends, because you have to dovetail the ends on this kind of ribbon. Just makes it look right. So like this. So all I'm going to do now is just hot glue it in place just to give it a little something something. And this one is done. For DIY number 9, I'm taking 13 of these little boxes from the Dollar Tree and one of these little smaller wooden haunted houses, and also 13 of these tumbling tower blocks and painting everything in black chalk paint. And now I'll take some of these orange mini ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I need 13 as well. And I'm taking the little drawer part of these little boxes, and each of these ornaments, I'll hot glue all the little hanger pieces in place. And with the little tumbling tower blocks, I'll place the block in a position to where it'll hold the little ornament in place like this. And yes, there's still a gap, but we'll remedy that in a minute. And I'll also add some E6000 for more security. And now with my hot glue, I'll just begin to build this little structure, and I'm turning it into a Halloween advent calendar with treats inside. And I'm not too worried about the fact that the little boxes don't fit just perfectly. It kind of adds to the whimsy of this Halloween advent calendar. So now I'm adding some of these leather felt stickers, and they come in different designs, different patterns, and I'm just going to add them to help disguise all these little holes that are left. And these are pretty fun for the kiddos. This is definitely a family piece for the kiddos with all the bright colors and the pictures. And so I just kind of add them wherever I feel like, you know, a little ghost would look perfect, a little hat would look great, little bat would fit just right, and so on. Look at the little witch shoes. Oh my goodness. So now, of course, we have to add some candy to these advent calendar drawers, right? So some little vampire teeth, and some little eyeballs, some gumballs, and some pumpkins and cowtails, and just whatever your children would love. And this, I made this for my grandchildren. So look at this. They're all filled. Put them all in place. Look how cute. So now I'm taking another one of these wooden haunted houses. This is the larger one, and I painted it black. And now I'm taking some of these little buckets. They're the jack-o'-lanterns and the cauldrons, and so I'm going to stack them. And so I'll place some glue on the rim of the cauldron and add one of the little jack-o'-lanterns on top. And I'll do this to a couple of them. These will be my embellishments for the top of my house. And now I'm taking one of these battery packs of lights, of the LED lights. These are the orange ones. And I'll add the batteries and make sure it works. Works great. Put the little screw back in. Gotta keep it secure. And so now all I have to do now is start assembling. So now I'm taking the larger haunted house and I place it on the back of the whole setup. For DIY number 10, I begin with one of these Dollar Tree plaques that I found in the 50% off bin because it had a blemish. And I'm going to go in with this chalkboard paint from the Dollar Tree and some of this Waverly chalk paint in the color Ballet Slipper. And I'm going to do a light dry brushing on the top and the bottom of this plaque because I thought it would look cute. So I did both sides because this would be two-sided. So now I'm going to take these metal pieces from the Dollar Tree, the scaredy cat and the ghost, and I'm taking these wood letters from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to go ahead and paint them in the Ballet Slipper as well. And this is just as easy as taking my finished plaque and using some of this fix-all glue from Super Glue that you find at the Dollar Tree and placing a nice generous amount on these plaques. So first this little scaredy cat, place that on her, and some hot glue as well for the instant hold, and carefully placing it down. I'm using my craft clamps to keep her in place, flip the whole sign over, and doing the same thing for the little ghost. Nice generous amount of the fix-all and some hot glue. Placing it down. And now I'm going to take these wood letters and I'm just going to adhere them with some hot glue because I'm placing it wood to wood. And I'm just going to put on there boo, because that's what ghosts say. They say boo. So now I place that on there. Now I'll go ahead and take a little bow that I made from some ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And look how adorable. Oh, she's so cute. I'm also taking these little bat rings and snipping off the ring portions. And I'll just add them for embellishments. Now this one, I think the second one or the first one I dropped. And I just left it there. Okay, this one was correct. But this second one, I put the glue and I actually just dropped it. Oh, well, that's where it stays. I didn't want to accidentally peel the paint off, so I just went with it. Okay, so now I'm done with that side. I'll go ahead and flip it over. And now for this little girl, I'm just going to do the word meow. And believe it or not, I googled how to spell that. So this is the correct spelling. That's what the mean cats do, right? They go meow. With me, you never know what you're going to get. You never know. Then I'm going to take some of this black ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's not a Dollar Tree brand, but it's purchased at the Dollar Tree. And it's a satin ribbon. And I just did a quick little bow and cut it at an angle on the ends. And I'm just going to make this little bow for her little neck. Just like she has like a little collar. But it's just a bow. And I did light the ends too so they don't fray with my lighter. And just place it on there. I think she looks cute. And then I just added one of these spiders from a floral pick from the Dollar Tree and placed it where the hole was. And look at that. Yeah, that's why she's mad. She's mad because there's a spider on her. So now I'm taking these little hooks that I removed from another project. I think an ornament or something. I removed these little like hooks. And I'm just using my weeding tool to create a hole, poke a hole, and then using that to screw these little hooks in there. Now I'm just going to take some of this just chenille yarn, and I'm using this because I couldn't find my black jute twine, which I found it later. But this worked. This was okay. And I just used a little bit of hot glue on the end so I can thread it through the little loops, and then that worked pretty well. And then that was my hanger. And then all I had to do is tie a little knot, and then that's it. Here's the little ghost side, and here's the little cat side. For DIY number 11, cutting boards. And for this DIY, I'll be using my placemat. And so I chose this particular black and white placemat because it has like a rubber feel to it. And I figured it'd be perfect to place my potion bottles on top. So I cut off a piece that fits perfectly. And I'm going to go in with my dishwasher safe Mod Podge. So I'm just going to place a Mod Podge on there and then the placemat on top. And I don't show it, but I went in with black paint for the sides and a little bit on top of the placemat itself. And I placed it on top of 2 candle holders that I had already painted black to create a tray. For DIY number 12, use some wooden beads, 2 different sizes, and I'm going to utilize these bamboo skewers to paint the beads. And I'm going to paint them in 3 colors, in pavement, 2 blue, and English navy, like this. So now I'm going to go in with some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and with my chunky chippy brush, I'm going to just give it a light distressing on all of them. I want these to look old and like they've been around and they're just dirty and, you know, grubby. So I'll get that done, and then I'll go back in with some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color steel, the same thing, just another layer of distressing just to give it more interest and character, a little bit more dimension. And I'll just do both of these sizes until I get them to look like this. Look how cute. Super cute. And once they're dry, I'm going to take my yarn. I decided to use 2 different colors, this blue and this black. And I'm going to join them together and add a little bit of hot glue on the tip just to make it a little pointy so it's easy to thread the beads on the yarn. And so here is my little point ready to go. And so now here are my beads, nice and dry, looking super cute. And I also added 3 interesting beads that I had on hand. They had like a spider web on them, so I thought they were perfect for this. So here they are, look how cute. So I'm just going to continue to thread these beads until they look like this. So now here I'm going to use this Pick Your Poison MDF decor piece, and it has these potion bottles on them that hang. So I just removed one and I attached it to one end of my garland. So I secured it really well with 2 or 3 good knots, and I threaded the end back through the first bead so it's nice and secure and it won't come undone. Snip off the rest, and then the other side I'm going to create a tassel, and I'm just going to I'm just going to wind these on my hand a good 10 times, and I'm going to take the end and secure it in place with a good couple knots like this, and then I'll take another couple pieces and I'll create the rest of the tassel and secure this nice and tight and snip off the excess till it looks like this. Now we're ready to snip off the ends and give it a little haircut so it's nice and even. So it's looking really cute. But we're not going to stop there. No, we're going to get some more of this creepy cloth. I'm just going to snip off a little piece of it, and I'm going to add some to my potion bottle to make it look really cute. And I don't show it here, but I ended up painting this whole back of the bottle as well. So here I'm just attaching this creepy cloth, and then I also take another piece of creepy cloth and I incorporate it in the end of my tassel as well. So here I'm just going to snip it off and place it on there and secure it with another piece of the creepy cloth. So it looks like this. Super cute. Look at this. Give it a haircut. For DIY number 13, I'm going to begin with 4 of these paper towel holders. They're the metal ones from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint them with this black paint from Lowe's, and I'm going to use some of these cable ties from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put them together end to end to create some axles and wheels. So I'm just going to use these cable ties or zip ties, and I'm going to secure them together with 6 of these in 6 different spots. So 1 on each side on each end and 2 in the center. So a total of 6. Now I'm going to remove all of the excess, and I'll do this to 2 of these. So I'll have a set of 2. So now I'm taking one of these trays, these silver trays from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk pen in the color ink. And since this is metal, I'm going to also go in with some Mod Podge. Now I'm going to use my crocodile. I'm going to flip over the tray, and I'm going to create some holes so I can attach these to my axles, my wheels, and I'll do 2 on each of the short ends and 4 on the long ends. So now that I have it all ready, I'm going to attach my tray to my axles with the zip ties or cable ties, and this is just so simple, just putting it through and pulling it tight. And I do this to all 4 of the short ends, but I don't do the others yet. So now I'm going to snip off the excess, and then I'll set this aside and bring it back a little later. In the meantime, I'm going to take 2 of these pumpkin wreath forms from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go in with some of this Just Chenille black yarn. Oh my goodness, this stuff is so soft and velvety. I love this stuff. And I'm just going to start wrapping this around this whole wreath form, and I'll just go watch a movie, get myself busy, and come back when it's all wrapped up. And I do this to 2. So yeah, this part took a little while, but it's so worth it. And you can also use black pipe cleaners if you want to go a little quicker. So now for this part, you definitely need some of this chenille yarn because I'm going to create the jack-o'-lantern's face. So it's not going to be the traditional triangle eyes, but it's just going to be like square eyes or rectangular eyes. And this is acceptable because you can create a jack-o'-lantern any way you want. You can't go wrong. With Halloween, you really can't go wrong. So here are the 2 eyes, And I'm going to create the mouth. And again, my mouth is not going to be traditional. It's going to be just like a little smiley face. It's just going to be a happy one. It's going to be a happy jack-o'-lantern. So I'm just going to keep wrapping this around, making sure it's nice and secure on each of the wires. And so as I go through each wire, I'm going to create kind of, not a knot, but I'm just going to secure it with wrapping it a few times in this manner. And then here on the end, this one on this side, I made it more like a smile. So now I'm going to have to fix this one a little bit and get the gap to close up a little bit to make it look like a smile, but it could be a crooked smile too. Like I said, you really can't go wrong. And now just secure everything with knots. And that's the great thing about this chenille yarn, that you really can't tell where the knots are. The only problem is it gets messy. You can see all those black spots on my table. Yeah, it does kind of fall apart when you cut them. So yeah, that's the only bad part about this stuff. So now here I'm creating the nose to kind of make the triangle, but I had to secure it to the eyes. But that's okay, you can still see it, the jack-o'-lantern. I mean, I can see it. So I did this to both. And now I flipped it over to its front, so where it's curved. And I'm going to adhere some hot glue onto the chenille yarn. And I'm going to gently place some of this chiffon fabric that's also from that little girl's dress. Which, let me tell you, that this dress was a little bit like old looking, so this is perfect. And I'm just going to continue this, go all the way around. And this is another reason why it's good to have the chenille yarn, because it'll hold the hot glue, whereas the metal wires won't. So now here I'm going to trim off all the excess fabric, and I'm just going to leave a little bit on the very top because I like the way that looks. And once I'm finished with that, then I'm ready to place these two jack-o'-lantern wreath forms on my tray, and I'm going to secure them with some more of the cable ties or zip ties. And now I'm using the extra little holes that I placed on the long ends of the tray. This is a little bit tricky. I kind of had to get my fingers in there, but it was hard for me to show you guys what I'm doing, so I went ahead and placed my camera up front. So I hope this helps a little bit. So now here you can see a little bit better, I think. So now I'm just going to remove all the excess cable tie. And look at this, it's taking form. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. So now I have to do the other side, and I basically do the same thing, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys on this one since the other one you really couldn't see very well. So I'm just going to kind of balance it on there and then place the zip tie and then go through the hole, and on the very bottom tie it up. And that's really it. It's super simple. So now once I get this done, it's time to have some fun. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to show you guys what I do with this thing. Oh my goodness, I felt like a little kid. Okay, so here I'm just removing the excess zip tie. Now I'm going to place it forward so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to place this block of wood, and I'm just going to add some more of that fabric, place it on there, add the extra chiffon fabric on there for cushion, and here we go. Look, the skeleton bride and the groom. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to add a dab of glue on the head because the head was going everywhere. So went ahead and secured the head, placed her in there, placed him in there as well. Yeah. And now I'm taking these foam roses. I'm going to create a quick little bouquet for her. And so now I'm going to add a little black flower on her head. Look at her. Oh my goodness. So now I'm going to take this piece of wood from the Dollar Tree. It's one of those planks. I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk pen in the color ink and do a little dry brushing with the Waverly chalk pen in the color plaster, because you know you got to give it that spooky look. So much fun. So now with my Cricut and one of the fonts from Creative Fabrica, I created this. This is Just Buried. How fun. And now I'm just going to remove the transfer tape, and then I'll seal everything up with some Mod Podge, and this will go on the back of my carriage along with some bones that are being dragged with some jute twine. How fun. And now for the front of my carriage, I'm going to use this horse, and this is also from the Dollar Tree. It's a squirrel feeder. You're supposed to place like a piece of corn on the top of it or something. I never used it, but I thought it was cute, and it's finally coming in handy. So I'm just going to spray paint it with this black spray paint from Lowe's, and I'm just going to use a few of these embellishments from the Dollar Tree. And here's how it looks. For DIY number 14, I'm going to begin with one of these arch window decor pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove all the pieces that are on it, including this kickstand on the back. And I'm also going to remove this little clip, just taking my screwdriver. It's held by one little screw, and quickly, just like that, off it goes. And now I'm going to set this aside. Now I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper and some of this spooky craft fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to see how I'm going to fit my arch window on here. I like that it looks like a patchwork kind of look. So here's the piece that I chose, and I'm going to go in with some Mod Podge. It's just a mat, and I'm going to spread this all over the fabric in this manner, nice and thick. Allow this to dry completely. Come back, peel it off the parchment paper, flip it over, and do the same thing on the back, and do a very generous amount, because I want this to be thick and strong. Now I'm going to set this aside, allow it to dry. Here it is, nice and dry. So now I can place this on my arch window. And I really wanted one of these windows to have the crow with the moon. So right here, this little one here. The rest I will piece together. So here I decided to remove a couple of these pieces because I think I can save them for another project instead of just cutting them and ruining them. So here, that's what I'm doing here, just removing a few pieces that this arch window will not use at all. So here I'm going to place my arch window back on, just to check. Looking good. So I'm going to use one of these pieces. It looks like it's the pumpkin, and I'm going to place it down here on this bottom part. And then using a different fabric from the Dollar Tree, I cut out these two little kitty cats, and I did the Mod Podge on them as well. And I'm going to place them in these windows, because again, this whole thing looks like a patchwork anyway. So I figured it would just look cute. So now I'm going to use some of the Fabric Tech fabric adhesive to adhere these onto the fabric. Now you can go ahead and use more of the Mod Podge. That would definitely adhere fabric to fabric. But I have just a little bit left in this bottle, and I want to use it up. That way I can be able to use my new bottles and not feel like I'm wasting some of that Fabric Tech fabric glue. So that was just my thinking. But you can definitely use Mod Podge. It'll be probably a little easier. But like I mentioned, I wanted to use this up because I'm down to the very bottom of this bottle, and I don't want to waste it. So here I place my little kitty cats, make sure everything fits nice. And I'm going to use the same Fabric Tech fabric glue to adhere the arch window itself onto my fabric. Now in this case, you can probably use hot glue, that would work, or the Elaine's tacky glue, that would work as well. So here, I'm just going to place it down and allow this to set. And one thing about this Fabric Tech fabric glue, it sets pretty quickly. So now I'm just going to go ahead and trim off all the extra pieces. I don't have to worry about ruining anything because I already kept the pieces that I wanted. So here it is, all nice and trim with my scissors. Looking cute. So now I'm going to take these wooden pieces from the Dollar Tree. I got these last year. I'm sure they'll have them again this year. And they have little bats. So I was excited about that. So I placed them where I think it would look cute. One right here where the hole is, where the clip was. I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue, but you could use wood glue. That'd probably be better, more long lasting. But I used the hot glue for the convenience of the quick adhering of these pieces. So here I'm placing another one here. And I know what you're thinking, those need to be colored, and yes they will. We will definitely paint those in just a minute. Just want to place them where I can see them clearly, like this. I wanted to use this little haunted house for something, but it didn't really go well. But I did want to use this little spider. I thought it would be cute. So I'm going to place this with some hot glue again. And I'm going to place this in the very center, just to give it that little touch. Now I'm going to go in with these two paints in this manner. And I also did a little tray from the Dollar Tree. And now I'm going to take some hot glue and do a nice generous amount on the bottom of my arch window on the back. And adhere the tray to the arch window. So as you can see, we're making a little lantern. And in a perfect world, I would use an LED pillar candle, but I didn't have one. So I'm just going to utilize this one for now. It's just a regular candle. And I'm adding some of this black mesh that came off of another product that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, just to give it that look. And I'm adding some creepy cloth, kind of drape it on the front side like this, and bunching it up inside the little tray, and adding my candle. And that is it. This is how it looks. For DIY number 15 and 16, I'm taking 3 of these jars, these glass jars, 2 taller, 1 a little shorter, and this is so simple. Oh my goodness. All I'm doing now here is taking some of this thin gauze, and I'm just going to wrap these jars with this gauze. And I was thinking of painting it white first, the jars, but then I thought, no, I'm trying to create like mummies, and I want them to be a little bit transparent, because I'm going to add some LED candles on the inside. So I definitely decided not to paint them after all. So I'm just working with this gauze, and I do end up doing a little bit of hot glue here and there because they started to kind of unravel. The mummy unravel. So I'm just going to keep working it and do a little crisscross effect here and there, and then finally secure it with some more hot glue until it looks like this. And I'll do this to all 3 of the jars. And I'm taking a variety of googly eyes. I'm taking 2 of the larger ones for the dad mummy, and a couple of the mid-sized ones with the little eyelashes. Look at this, how cute. For the mommy mummy. And then some teeny tiny ones for the little boy mummy. Like this. Look how cute. And now all I have to do is add my LED candles inside. And that is it. That's it for this DIY. Super cute. And look at that. It's a little mummy family. Taking the rest of these little buckets. 1 of these cauldrons is what I had left. 2 of these jack-o'-lanterns is what I had left. And then this pack of 3 green buckets as well, these 3 jack-o'-lanterns. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one of these topsy-turvy kind of jack-o'-lanterns, stacked jack-o'-lanterns. So with the tip of my hot glue gun, I'm going to burn a hole right through the little jack-o'-lantern buckets like this. So there's like a hole in each one. And now I'm taking one of these dowel rods, and I'm going to cut it to size with my miter shears like this. And I'm going to begin to assemble. So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom of the dowel, place it in the middle of the inside of the cauldron, add some more glue to secure it in place, take some of these little rocks from the Dollar Tree to give it some weight and stability, and then all I'm going to do now is just begin to place these little pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns in a manner that they will sit topsy-turvy. And so I'll do the orange one first, and then the green one, and make sure that they all sit opposite from each other, and then last the other orange one. Set that in there as well, and make sure that they're sitting topsy-turvy. And now I'm taking the rest of these florals that I had that I've been using for all my DIYs, and I'm going to remove the rest of these little spooky looking picks. They have like little spiders and little bats on them. I think they're cute. And so now I'm just going to add a little bit of styrofoam inside the top bucket, and then place these little picks in there just to give it some more interest and some more height. And that is it. Super cute. For DIY number 17 and 18, I'm taking one of these foam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, and with my knife I'm just going to cut a hole in the center because it's hollow on the inside, and I'll just stick my finger in there. And so now I'm taking some of this harlequin looking ribbon, also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to place it around once to see how much length I'll need to wrap around this pumpkin. And I'll use this piece as a template to cut 4 pieces. So now I'll just start poking this ribbon through into the middle, and then I'll wrap the other side going the other way, and I'll just keep wrapping this ribbon until I get the whole pumpkin covered. So like this, and I'll stick my finger through there, make sure all the ribbon is inside. Use a little bit of hot glue if you need to, if it doesn't stay. So see, like here, I'll just put some in there and it'll stay perfectly. And you can use a dowel or anything to poke it in. I use my scissors. And now I'm taking some of these push pins and I'm going to place them on a styrofoam piece and hot glue all these little googly eyes to them. And now I'm taking one of these velvet pumpkins, and all I'm going to do is push pin all these little eyeballs into place. And there's no rhyme or reason, just wherever you feel it needs an eyeball. Because it's going to be spooky fun. And just take your time, and if one doesn't look right, well, you know, you can move it out of the way, remove it, and replace it. This works perfectly for that. Very kid friendly, definitely. And so just keep working it until you have all your little eyeballs and you have it the way you want it to look. So here I have them all placed. It's always hard to find the last one where to place it. And so see here, I'm moving them. Okay, so now I'm happy with it. So now I'm taking another one of these foam pumpkins and cutting the center as well, making a hole in the middle. And this time, instead of ribbon, I'm going to take some spooky looking fabric that I purchased at Walmart. And this one has these cute little ghosts. Nothing's too spooky. Everything's kind of cute. So these cute little ghosts. And I'm just going to wrap the pumpkin in this fabric. And this piece was pretty perfect for this pumpkin. But if your fabric is a little bit too wide or too long or too large, you can always trim it, of course. And so now I'm taking one of these bamboo skewers, and I'm going to begin to assemble my little spooky pumpkin topiary until it looks like this. I am taking one of these round wooden ornaments, and I'm taking the beads from this little frame. So I'm just going to take 4, and all I'm going to do with this one is just add some glue and adhere these beads onto this piece, this round piece, to create a riser for my topiary. So this is done. I'll set it aside. And now I'm taking the frame and I'm going to remove the backing part, and I'm going to use this buffalo check deco mesh that I had, and I'm going to just simply wrap this piece with this deco mesh. And at the time I thought it was a good idea, but boy, this thing was a little bit difficult. This was a challenge. So I removed the edge part of it, and here I'm just going to add some hot glue and wrap this piece. Let me tell you, I don't know. It does work in the end, but the whole time I just was shaking my head like, oh no, I don't know if this is gonna work, because those little wires were just everywhere. They were just everywhere. But I just kept with it, and so I placed the backing back onto the frame and just closing it up. And let me tell you, look at this mess. So now I kind of pull it to try to get all those lines to be a little bit straight. And I just thought, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it a little bit whimsical here, because spooky things are not perfect. And that's what I just kept telling myself. And then I ended up trimming it, all the backing part of it. So I trimmed all that off. And so now I decided, okay, I'm just going to work with this. So now I'm taking some of these little hats from the Dollar Tree. They're the wooden stickers, and one of these little brooms. And these little brooms are so cute, but I did have to end up cutting part of the top a little bit too long. So now I'm just going to adhere this little broom onto the frame. And now I'm moving the hat. I decided to put beware on there. Let me tell you, this thing was a challenge, and I decided to film the whole thing just to show you guys that sometimes this is just a process. You just got to go with the flow. So now I ended up using the orange hat, and I'm going to place that on the frame. So now all I'm going to do is take this little cauldron, glue it on there. I don't show it, but I ended up cutting it in half so it'll fit better. For DIY number 19, block calendar that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to remove the contents that are inside. We will be using them later on. And I'm just going to go in with the color Pumpkin from Waverly, paint this completely, and I'm going to take another decal that I cut out in the Cricut design space. They had such cute designs, I just couldn't resist. So I'm just going to remove the backing on this and just simply place it on the house shape, and it just says Home Sweet Haunted Home. How perfect. It's so cute. It has all these little embellishments, these little bats and little stars and things. Really cute. So now I'm just going to remove all the transfer tape. Comes up pretty easily. Now I'm going to take some more of this dressing ink by Tim Holtz and doing some distressing. Give it a little bit of dimension and accents. Make it look a little creepy and spooky. And off camera, I took my black Artex marker and I went over the calendar words and numbers. Place all the contents back inside. And I'm going to use some creepy cloth to help embellish this, but first I put some on top. I didn't really like it, but I did for a minute, and then I added some more creepy cloth to the center. I think I like that better, so I'm just going to fix that. And then I felt like I needed a little bow, but I didn't really want to use the same ribbon I've been using, so I just used one of these little raffia bows that came off of another project, another item from Dollar Tree, and I just went over it with the distressing ink to dirty it up a little bit, and place a little dab of glue and place it on top of the house. And then I just took some of these beads. These are actually wood beads from Amazon. There were ghosts and jack-o'-lanterns, and I just added some hot glue and placed one on each side, one of the ghosts on each side for embellishment, and the little jack-o'-lantern in the center as well. And that is it. I think I figured this was good. And I ended up just changing the bow. This is how it looked. For DIY number 20, this is super simple. I'm just taking these frames from the Dollar Tree, this one here with the plastic in the center, and I tried to remove that little clip, but it wouldn't come off, so I'm leaving it. And then one of these mirrors from the Dollar Tree with the really pretty insides, and now all I'm going to do is take some more window clings. I'm taking this one with the witch, with the moon, and all I'm going to do is just place it inside the mirror. And literally, that is it. That is all. Look at that. It's so cute. And then the same with this other frame. I'm taking the Hocus Pocus one, and I'll just place that inside of this glass. Well, it's not glass. It's like a plastic, clear plastic. And that is it. Look at that. Super easy, super cute. So fun for the kiddos. They can change these up. For DIY number 21, make some potion bottles. I'm going to repurpose these 3 bottles. They're from the Dollar Tree. 2 of them are sanitizer bottles, and the other one is like a liquid soap. So I'm going to remove all the packaging, all the labels, and I'm going to use some of this Goo Gone to remove any stickiness. Now I'm going to go ahead and open them up, and I'm going to begin by pouring some water. I'm going to do about half on each of these. In this manner. You see I spilled it everywhere. Sometimes it just happens. Now once I get them as full as I think I need, I can always add more. I wanted to do some food coloring, so I started off strong with some red, did a couple of drops of red, and then did a drop of green because this bottle is small. I just did one and a half. And then I had no blue and my yellow was gone. Oh my goodness, what a fail. So instead I'm going to use some of this blue paint. I'm just going to do a tiny little drop. I mean, it wasn't even a full drop. It was like half a drop. So we'll see how that works out. So now here are my mica powders. I used them for my cat project from one of the last videos, and I still had some, so I'm going to go ahead and use these. And I'm going to take the little spoon because I need to pour these in these bottles, and I'm going to do this purplish one that has green and blue in the green bottle, and then I'm going to take this blue one that's got blue, gold, and some other color, I forget. pour this one in the blue, and then this reddish tone one, it's got red, purple, and I don't know, some other color. And pour that in there. Do a couple scoops because this bottle is pretty large compared to the others. And now I'm going to use some of this isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to fill up the rest of it and just kind of pour it in. Put the cap on nice and tight and shake it up. And now I'll do the same thing for the green bottle. Add my rubbing alcohol inside. Put the cap on, shake it up. Now the camera does not catch how pretty it looks. Maybe it's the bottle, I don't know, but it's really pretty. So now I'm going to do the red one, same way. Fill it all the way up and shake it up. This one you can see a little bit better. Look how pretty. You just gotta shake them up. That's the only thing. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of this black jute twine that I got from the Dollar Tree some time ago, and I'm just going to do a little dab of glue on my little cap, and I'm going to put this around the whole top of my cap. I don't want this white showing at all. So I'm just going to go around this whole piece, and I do this to all three, and then secure the end with a little tiny little just a hint of glue that I don't want it showing. Now for the top of the cap, I'm going to use some black hot glue, and I put some in my detail hot glue gun. Get rid of all the leftover yellow from all my bee DIYs. And I'm just going to place this glue all over the cap. Now if you don't have black hot glue, you can use a crayon and melt it on there. You can use any kind of wax, but I had the black glue stick, so I thought, why not? Just kind of squeeze it on there and make some nice long drips to make it look kind of spooky and old. And then to help melt the drips a little bit more, I'm going to use my heat gun. Now I have to be careful because this bottle is plastic and I can totally melt the bottle as well. I don't want that. But if it's glass, you're good to go. So here I'm just going to create some more drips. Make them as creepy as I want them to look. Because these potion bottles, yeah. Look at that. And then I go ahead and do this to all three of my bottles. Now I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing. I have these stickers. These are all beautiful. I love these colors. These were the gems. And these look like little seals. Perfect. So now I'm going to take this pack here, and I'm going to use the one that says love. And I feel like this would be perfect for the red one, like a love potion. So I'm going to place that in the center, press it down, and look how good. Looks good. For this blue one, I'm going to take the pack that's got this blue sticker. Looks like a fleur-de-lis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that's what I'm calling it. So I'll put this one on here. Didn't stick very well, so I'm going to add a little dab of glue, hot glue, and then place it on. It fits perfectly and it holds it just right. Just press it for a minute, allow that to set. Now for the green one, I thought one of these gem ones would be great, and I like this white one. It's like a diamond. And I'm just going to place it in the center, hold it down till it adheres. It does a great job. And then that is it for this set of potion bottles. Here's how the whole grouping looks. Here is the green one. Here is the red one. And here is the blue one. For DIY number 22, I'm going to take this other decor piece from the Dollar Tree. It's got the circles. They're about 3 inches or so in diameter, and I'm going to take it apart. I think it's cute, but I think I can make it for Halloween. And so I'm going to take my needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to kind of pull down and remove these staples like this. Just kind of pull down, twist it, and they come off pretty easily. And just like that, they're all off and nothing was hurt. So here are my pieces. I'll put this away for now. Now I'm going to take some paper towels. Like I like to remove the paper off of MDF or chipboard. I'm going to place these paper towels on top and saturate them with water. Let them soak for about 30 minutes or so. Go do something else while this is soaking. but in this case I'm just going to set them aside, allow them to soak. In the meantime, I'm going to take some of these wood biscuits that I purchased off of Amazon, and I'm going to take my miter shears and cut them in half, and I'm just going to press down. If it doesn't cut it all the way through, just make the indentation and then flip it over, and then it'll snap right off. And I do this to 3. And if you're wondering what we're making 3 little kitty cats, and these will be the ears. So yeah, so here's 3 total. We'll set these aside for now. Now we're going back to our little rounds and taking a scraper to remove all of this paper, and then also taking a wet paper towel to remove any adhesive that is left on there. Here they are, nice and clean blanks. Now I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree chalkboard paint them up, and I do both sides and also the little ears. And now I'm going to place the little ears where I think would look really cute, like right here. Look at that, look like little kitty cats. So now I'm going to take some of the super glue wood glue to adhere all the ears onto the rounds. And I'm just going to be very careful and do a tiny little line, thin line of glue, and kind of place it on like this. Here's another one, real thin amount. You can use a paintbrush if you want. And then here's the last one. Look, they're looking so adorable. Oh my goodness, I just can't. Allow these to dry completely. Add these little bows that I made with Dollar Tree ribbon. Here they are, nice and dry. Look how cute. Okay, so now I want to recreate the way that this original decor was hanging. So I'm going to take some black jute twine that I purchased off of Dollar Tree, and I'm going to utilize the kickstand that I took off of the arch window. And I'm going to wrap this jute twine around a good 20 times. And now I'm going to place some jute twine through the side, or through the inside, and then take it to the top, pull it nice and tight, and tie it with a good triple knot. That way it's nice and tight. And then slip off the bottom part like this. And now this is the beginnings of my tassel. It's going to be a super long tassel because I kind of want to make it look like a cattail. So now I'm going to take my scissors, open up the tassel on the bottom, and now I'm going to take another piece of jute twine, and you know the drill, got to tie the tassel up on the top. I did it a nice, I don't know, 15 times or so. And now I'm going to adhere the opening with a little bit of glue, just a tiny bit, and taking my silicone spatula to press it down. That way it'll seal up and it won't come apart. I'm going to take a second to fix all my strands and snip off this little piece of jute twine that was hanging out. Place it aside. Now take another piece of jute twine, and now I'm going to recreate the length of this piece with jute twine. Snip off the excess, and now I'm going to take the 2 ends, and I'm going to take some beads, but first I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on the end of the 2 ends, allow it to cool a second, and then roll it to make a makeshift needle, and string some of these beads on there. And you can use your weeding tool if you need to, or just string it. So here I'm making a loop for the top. That way my beads don't go all the way through, and I just do a double knot. And here I'm going to use my weeding tool to help poke this jute twine through. That works great. And then I'm going to add a white bead as well. Sorry that I'm slowly going off frame. Okay, so now I'm going to start assembling my decor piece. Have my first 3 beads on there. It looks great. Now I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue on the back where the line goes, where the jute twine naturally goes down. And I'm just going to lift it up, add a nice line of hot glue, place my jute twine on there, and make sure it's in the hot glue. That way it's nice and sturdy on there. Now I'm going to add one more bead. I'm going to add a white bead to give it that contrast, and just thread it through all the way to the bottom of the face of the kitty. And now repeat the same process. Place my jute twine, do a line of hot glue. You can always staple these back on if you want for more security, but this happened to work just fine, so I'm going to leave it just with the hot glue. Press it down with my silicone spatula, make sure it's good and adhered. Add my 3rd white bead, pull it through, and then add my last little kitty cat and do the same thing. Do a line of glue and place my jute twine on top and press it down with my silicone spatula, like that. Okay, so now this is pretty much done and set. And now I'm going to flip it over to finish it up. And look how cute! Then you can leave it like this, blank. You can use chalk and have the kiddos make little faces. I'm actually going to add some vinyl to it, just because, I don't know, I just wanted to do it. But you have choices, you have options. So I'm going to finish up and add my little tassel. So I'm going to add 3 beads to the tassel itself. It's hard to see here because I do go out of frame for a second, and I really apologize for that. I didn't realize. So now I'm going to tie the 2 pieces together, the piece at the bottom of the 3rd kitty with the piece of the tassel. And to do this, I'm just going to add a dab of glue, adhere the 2 pieces together like this, and then the piece that's hanging down on the kitty, I'm actually going to poke that through this bead here with some needle nose or some tweezers. Yeah, with some tweezers, I'm just going to poke it in there, and that works great. And then to anchor it in permanently, I'm going to use my detail hot glue gun and add some glue inside of the hole of the bead, like this one here, and just kind of pump in a couple little beads of glue, and that does a perfect job. And look, it's so cute. And like I said, you could use chalk to make faces, or you could do decals. I chose to do decals, and this is how it looks. For DIY number 23, begin with 8 of these tumbling tower blocks, and I'm going to place them in this manner and adhere them all with my super glue wood glue, and I do 3 sets of these. Now I'm taking a pack of these little ghosts from the Dollar Tree. They're made out of wood, and I'm going to do a set of 2, and I'm going to take my wood glue and adhere them together. So I'll have 3 sets of 2, and it's just to make them a little thicker because they're pretty thin. And I'm going to place craft clamps to keep them together till they set. Now I'm taking some lightweight spackle and covering the little holes on all 3 of these little ghosts, as well as placing it on my tumbling tower blocks. That way it gives it extra strength, because we'll be using a drill on it, and I don't want to use a drill and suddenly everything falls apart, because I can see that happening. Now once all my spackle is dry, I'm taking my finger sander to make sure everything's nice and smooth. And I'm also going to use 3 of these wooden dowels from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go in with these 2 colors. Now here I'm placing my little platforms on this block and using my drill, making holes through it, and it works great. Nothing falls apart, and I believe it's all thanks to that spackle. I really do. So here I just went ahead and did a hole on all 3 of these little platforms, and now go in with some more of my super glue wood glue, and I'll add a little dab of glue inside the hole on the platform and place my dowel inside. And taking my rubber mallet, I'll knock them all the way in, and then I'll get my wet baby wipe and remove any excess adhesive, and I'll do this to all 3, and I'll set those aside, allow those to dry for a bit. In the meantime, I'm going to take some of this adorable spiderweb ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I never thought I would say that a spiderweb is adorable, but I love this ribbon. It's so cute. And I'm just going to make some little bows with it. Again, dovetail all the ends, because these little bows are going on my ghosts. And again, if you don't like ribbon and bows, leave them off. So simple. I'm just going to take a little dab of glue and placing one on the top for the mama, placing one on the neck for the daddy, and placing another one on the neck for the little boy, like this. So now I'll go ahead and take my hot glue, and I'll place a nice little line on the back of the bottom of the little ghost and adhere them to the top of the dowel, and using my craft clamps to keep them in place until the hot glue sets, like this. And I'll do this to all 3. And look at this, they are so cute. I've seen these in the store for a lot of money, like $7 each or something. It's just ridiculous. And look at this, it didn't cost much. Now I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing. I'm taking some of this creepy cloth, and I'm going to snip off 3 nice bunches of it, because I'll place them on the platforms just to give it that extra spooky look. So far it's just typical Halloween style, but you'll see where I'll make them cottagecore in a second. So what makes cottagecore? I believe tan tones make it cottagecore, and then this is where the distressing ink will come in place. So all the edges on these ghosts are going to have that little bit of cottagecore touch to them, and then this will make them more cottagecore. And now I'm going to take 3 of these mini leather pumpkins, and using my paint marker I'm just going to create little jack-o'-lantern faces. And again, this will definitely be a cottagecore part to this DIY, and I'll just place them on the platform. And now taking these little bat rings, these are from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to snip off all the little ring parts because the little bats are so cute. Never thought I would say that, really. And I'm going to use these to embellish my little ghost, and then that is it. This is how they look. For DIY number 24 and 25, one of these decor pieces from the Dollar Tree that says Boo, and I'm going to go in with some Waverly chalk paste in the color ink, and then I'm going to use some Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster to do a little bit of dry brushing on it. And I'm just going to go and do the whole thing thoroughly, front side, back side, all of it, and this will be an embellishment for my project. Now here is my project. I'm taking 2 of these Dollar Tree mirrors, and I'm going to go ahead and take it apart. And I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol to clean off the mirror itself. So here is the little doggy that I cut. Look at that. And also the little kitty. Okay, so here are my mirrors nice and clean, and I'm just going to place these vinyls on the mirror, kind of center it as best I can, and then removing the transfer tape. And if you guys are going to do something like this with the Dollar Tree mirrors, just be careful because I did crack my poor doggy one, as you can see here, just by removing that transfer tape. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm getting my gloves on. I'm using some etching cream by Armour, and I'm going to go to town and cover both of these mirrors with this etching cream and using just a brush, paintbrush. So they're going to look like this here, and I'm going to allow these to sit for about 5 to 10 minutes or so. You really don't have to let it sit too much longer. Once 5 minutes or so is up, it's going to etch what it's going to etch. So here is my little kitty cat, and here I'm using my heat gun to help dry the water off, and also to soften the vinyl that I'm going to remove. This vinyl is not going to stay. It's already served its purpose. It's basically a stencil, and you can use stencil vinyl, of course, but I didn't have any, so just regular vinyl worked just fine. This removable one, so it worked just fine. And now I'm just removing all the vinyl off my mirror to reveal the beautiful pattern. Oh my goodness, this turned out so cute. And as you can see, there's little blotches here and there, and you can actually go back and add more etching cream if you want to try some more, but I kind of like this look. It looks very Halloweenish and spooky. So here I'm just taking some rubbing alcohol and making sure that all the etching cream is off. Make sure there's nothing crusty on there, because if you leave it on too long, then a little bit of crust can form on the vinyl. And I went ahead and glued these mirrors onto their backings because, like I said, these mirrors are pretty thin. And here's how they look. For DIY number 26, these high cloche domes from the Dollar Tree. 2 are the taller ones, the middle one is the shorter one. Remove all these labels, and these I'm just going to go simply with some of these decals with these cute bats. I never thought I would say such a thing, but these cute bats on all of these domes, just right on top, right on front. The smaller dome, I'll use the larger bats, and the taller domes I'll use the smaller bats just to make it a little bit different. And now I'm just going to go in with some of these fairy lights from the Dollar Tree, and here's how they look. For DIY number 27, I use one of these glass mason jars from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use a few of these ping pong ball eyeballs, and I'm just going to add some of this orange liquid hand soap from the Dollar Tree and some of this clear soap as well, and just fill it all the way up. And now I'm going to take this pump that I got from Amazon that fits on these jars perfectly, and I just embellish with some bows, labels, and creepy hands. And here's how it looks. For DIY number 28, these pumpkin plaques that was in that stash. And I'm going to prep everything as I did in DIY number 2. And I'm going to go in with these two paints, the jet black and the snow white. Paint them like this. I'll use these a little bit later to place them back on their stands. I'm going to take some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing. And take my chunky chippy brush from the Dollar Tree and dab it on my paper towel and just start doing a little bit of accenting, a little bit distressing, try to make it look like it has that pumpkin look, and add the ribs to it. That way it has that shape, that illusion. And I do this to all three in the same manner. Now I use my Cricut to make some spooky faces, but these are so easy to actually just cut out of vinyl. You just take some black vinyl, maybe some from the Dollar Tree, and literally just cut some rounds or ovals, and you can make your own little faces super easy. In fact, with these here, I'm not even going to use any transfer tape. I'm just simply going to peel because they're big enough. I'm just going to peel and stick. And as you can see here, I didn't weed it very well because those little pupils weren't cut out. I had not weeded them out. But look, just like that. And then just real quick, then you have three little spooky looking pumpkins, little ghost pumpkins. And now using some of the Dollar Tree super glue wood glue, I'm going to add some to my little base pieces and add my pumpkins, my ghost pumpkins onto them, and allow them to dry completely. This glue will set really well because it's a really good glue. You guys know I love it. And I'm just going to push them down and get them all done. This last one doesn't have a little groove, so I'm just going to add a little bit of the wood glue and then a couple little dabs of the hot glue for the immediate hold. And just like that, it sets pretty quickly. And now I can embellish. And for embellishments, I'm just going to do a little bow for the mommy. She's the one with a couple eyelashes. She looks like she's a little upset. I'm going to place that on top. And then for the rest, I'm just going to add some of the creepy cloth because it's the look I like. And then that is it for this one. This is how they look. For DIY number 29, I'm going to begin with these 3 glass beach sand bottles, and I'm going to remove all the packaging, and with my straight razor scraper I'm going to remove all the wording so they look like this. And so now I'm going to go in with these little bones. They're plastic, and I'm going to choose the smallest ones because the larger ones, they don't fit, and I'm just going to place them inside the bottle. And now I'm going to take some of this sawdust that actually came from my little tabletop miter saw. And I don't know why I saved it, but I saved it. But now I'm glad I did, because this is what I can use it for. So I'm going to fill this up with some of this sawdust till it looks like this. And I'm calling this crushed bone meal. Ooh. Okay, so then I picked up this package of rings, and they are bats and skulls, but I don't do skulls. So I'm just going to do the bats, and I'm going to snip off all of the little ring parts, but I will utilize them. So I'm going to stick all the little bats in there, and then the little ring parts, I'm going to put them in another bottle, and I'm going to use these as spider legs. Yeah. Spooky. They look like spider legs too. And I'm also going to go in with this pick, this Halloween floral pick with these berries, and I'm going to put them in there to kind of simulate spider eggs, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I'll just put those in there. Just a few, not a lot. So now that I have my little goodies in my bottles, now I'm going to utilize my dirty paint water. It looks so dirty. It looks so yucky because it's got gray and black and all kinds of colors. So I'm going to fill these bottles up, 2 of them anyway. I'm going to fill up 2 of these bottles with some of this water. But now they're looking too much alike. So I'm also going to go in with some of my white dirty water. And I put a lot in the first bottle and I put a little bit in the second bottle. But now they're still looking too much alike. I like the color that is created, but they're looking too alike. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the middle bottle and shake it up. And so my middle bottle is going to be called Boo Berry Bat Juice. And then the spider one is going to be called Greasy Spider Legs. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with these little chalkboard labels, and I'm just going to place them on the bottles like this. And now I'm going to use some of these rub-on transfers. So many good transfers, it's hard to choose. So I've decided to use the bats for my bat juice, my blueberry bat juice. And I ended up utilizing 3 of these rub-on transfers. They're all bats, 2 big ones on each side, and then a teeny tiny one on the bottom center. And these things work so well. Oh my goodness, I love these things. Love the rub-on transfers, and they do so well with glass. It was just really perfect. Okay, so then I'm taking another pack and I'm going to cut out these spiders, and I'm going to use this for my greasy spider legs, because of course gotta have some spiders. And again, they work perfectly, especially on glass, and they just come up, and look at that, perfect. So I just use I think 2 or 3 of these little spiders on this bottle here until it looks like this. Look at this, so cute. So now I'm taking a piece of chalk to kind of prime all the little chalkboards, and it also helps to make them look like they're a little bit old and dusty. And now with my Cricut, I created these cut files, these words, and so I can label my items. And so this one is going to be called Greasy Spider Legs. And again, if you don't have a Cricut, you can use chalk, you can use stickers from the Dollar Tree, you can use rub-on transfers, you can use a chalk marker, you can use all kinds of stuff. But if you do have a Cricut, then you have a great opportunity to use all the different fonts, and it's great. So this one is my crushed bone meal. Look at that. And then this one is my Boo Berry Bat Juice. And look how the colors kind of settled, and they look kind of eerie and spooky. I love this. Oh my goodness, these bottles are so cute. So now I'm going to go in with some of this creepy cloth. Love using the creepy cloth, and I'm going to cut this piece in thirds, and I'm just going to embellish and make it look spooky on the outside like this. And these are done. For DIY number 30, and here is the dollhouse I'm going to make over. I'm going to use this paint by Lowe's, flat black, and look at this. Now I'm ready to do a little dry brushing with the Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. And I'm just using my chunky chippy brush from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go to town and just look at the magic this dry brushing does. I think it's pretty fantastic. So now here, as I continue to dry brush, and you can see all the different textures and designs that were kind of hidden in all that paint, they really pop out. But look at this. This comes out so beautiful. Like, this is like, there's no filter here. This is the black with the dry brushing of the plaster. And it's just gorgeous. I think this is such a beautiful effect. It's haunted, but it's also pretty. I especially get excited when there's a lot of texture to go over. Oh my goodness, this is just fantastic. Look at all those scrolls. Oh my goodness. I had so much fun with this, even though it took me a while because, like I mentioned, this thing is huge. But all that dry brushing was so much fun. And like I said, I also did the inside. And I don't show all the dry brushing because that would be just way too long. This video would probably be about an hour long. So I'm just showing you this portion of the front of the house. But yes, I dry brush the whole thing. So now here I'm going to go in with this apple barrel paint in the color Territorial Beige. And I'm just going to do dry brushing on the foliage, on the bushes. I want them to be looking a little bit dead and brown. I don't think green would have been a good color, not for a haunted house. But yeah, pretty much this is it. And now we'll continue. Now here it is, all dry brushed. Look at that. There's the inside, that was the outside. Now I'm going to go in with some creepy cloth, set it down on my table, just like that. Allow this to set and dry. In the meantime, we'll do a mini DIY number 1. And I'm just taking some of this furniture from the Dollar Tree. All these pieces, super cute, and they fit perfectly in the house. And I'm just going to go in with the Waverly chalk paints in the color Elephant and Ink and paint them up to look as spooky as can be. Look at this. Oh my goodness. And I'll add a couple of Dollar Tree rub-on transfers and you'll see it at the final reveal. For DIY number 2, I'm going to take these 2 wooden frames. They are from the Dollar General Pop Shelf store. And I'm going to go in with this enamel paint in a silver by Folk Art. And now I'm just going to dry brush a little bit of white that I had left on my brush from another project that you'll see later on. And just give it that little bit of a texture, a little bit of a accent. And now I'm just going to go in with one of these lids from a spring mix. And if you've been following me for a while, you know I like to utilize this plastic because it's fantastic. It's durable and it's easy to cut. So here I'm just going to cut 2 small squares to fit inside of these frames because I'm going to create just some spooky looking frames for the house. So I'm just going to turn them over and add a little bit of glue here and there, a few dabs, and place these plastics on top. Now I'm going to go in with these rub-on transfers and I'm going to utilize the 2 larger ghosts. This is the same pack that I used for the other DIY. I'm just going to take these larger ghosts and place them on the plastic. And let me tell you, by the time I get done with these are so cute. I'm just going to rub them on, peel off the top plastic, and look how adorable. Oh my goodness. Now to mini DIY number 3, I'm going to take this pack of little ghosts. They come in a pack of 6 from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to go in with the Folk Art chalk paint in the color White Adirondack, paint them up, and give them some little googly eyes. And I also do a little dry brushing of gray. The DIY number 4, I'm going to take these jumbo craft sticks, just 4 of them, and I'm going to cut off the rounded ends. And now I'll go in with the Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant and a little bit of white. And now here I'm going to place these craft sticks on these windows to board them up. Gotta have a couple boarded windows, of course. And usually you would board up the windows on the bottom of the house because that would make more sense. But the bottom windows, you'll see in a minute, are those fancy windows. I think they're called bay windows. And I thought, no, let me just cover up the top windows. So now here I'm just going to add some embellishments, these little ghosts and these little potted pumpkins. Here's the inside, bringing it up. That way I can add my ghost frames. And I'm just going to place them on the entry. So when you come into the haunted house, you're greeted by the ghosts. And now I'm going to place the furniture. I placed this sofa on this entryway, but then I change it later. The bed, I placed one on this side, on this bedroom, and then the vanity. I just had fun changing it up. Now here I'm bringing it up to the next level, placing the other bed on this top room, and this spooky vanity here with the ghost there too. And I just had fun adding little embellishments and little pieces here and there just to make it spooky fun. And I did the inside and outside, and for DIY number 31 and 32, I'm going to take this doily, this lacy doily from the Dollar Tree. This one is an off-white, and then here's a pack of white. So it's a very subtle difference, but it is a little bit different. And I'm going to take 3 of these, snip off all of these tags, and I'm also going to use 2 of these styrofoam balls from Dollar Tree, and then this is a smaller one here. Now I'm going to take 3 of these bamboo skewers that I painted white, and I'm putting them through all the styrofoam balls in this manner, and adding some hot glue to keep them in place nice and secure. Now I'm just simply taking the center of these doilies, and I'm going to place the ball underneath to create some little ghosts. And I'm taking this white ribbon from the Dollar Tree as well, and I'm just going to tie a little knot on it. And later on I ended up removing the ribbon because I wasn't really crazy about it, but this kind of gives it a cottagecore because it's the lacy doilies that'll give it that cottagecore look. And now I'm just going to take my paint marker and create the little faces, and then we'll see them in a little bit. These 2 planters from the Dollar Tree, they have that country look, and I'm taking my drill and I'm going to make 4 holes on the bottoms of both like this. Now I'm going to take these two baskets from the Dollar Tree. They are the spider web with the spiders, and I'm just going to remove all the tags. And I'm going to take these nylon cable ties or zip ties, and I'm going to take my planter, flip it over, and make sure it's going to fit right. Then I'm going to take my cable tie, thread it through the bottom in one area, and then placing it through the web, and then placing it back through, and then tying it tight underneath in the planter. And I do this to both planters in the same manner. That way they're nice and secure. I don't have to use hot glue or anything. And once I get them nice and tight, then I take my scissors and remove the excess. I'm not going to need the excess. Now you can use this as a pedestal or a planter. I'm going to use it as a planter. And so now I'm going to take some floral foam, stick it in there on both, and I'm going to adhere it with some hot glue just to make sure nothing falls out, like this. Now once I get this done, then I'm going to take some of these florals that I got from the Dollar Tree, and also some black flowers that I didn't put in here, but I also used them. And I'm also going to use these little gnomes that have a cottagecore look, and my little ghosts. And here's how they look. For DIY number 33, I'm taking one of these Thankful and Blessed MDF plaques from the Dollar Tree. It's the pumpkin, and I'm going to remove all these embellishments. And usually this leaf comes off pretty easy, but if it doesn't, just take a knife or a scraper and just pop it off like this. So I'm going to use the back side, and I'm going to paint the whole thing with black chalk paint. And I'm taking another one of these window clings from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to peel off this one that says Home Sweet Haunted Home. And again, I'm just going to take some of my dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and I'm going to lift the top part or the bottom part and place some of the Mod Podge on the window cling and place it, because I want this to be centered. And once I put the Mod Podge, I'm not sure, because this window cling is a little bit larger than the first one. So then I'll do the top part, the same thing, kind of fold it like a taco, and then put it back. And so now I didn't lose my centered position. And try to remove all the bubbles, as many as possible. If you have a brayer, that would be even better. So here I'm taking some of these wood beads from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using these colorful ones because they have some of the colors that I want. They have the orange, and then I'm going to alternate with the natural ones from Amazon, and I'll just alternate orange and natural until I make a hanger. And I'll just put the little hanger back in there. This is the hanger that came with it. And look at this. For DIY number 34, I take one of these soap dispensers from the Dollar Tree. I like the color. I think it goes well with spooky Halloween DIYs. And I'm just going to clean it up with some rubbing alcohol. Get it nice and clean. And now I'm just simply going to take some window clings. And these are some cute bats. These are actually from Walmart. And I'm going to choose 3 of the smaller ones that'll fit this soap pump or soap dispenser pretty well. So I choose these here. Now I'm going to take some of the Mod Podge. This is the one in the gloss, because this soap dispenser is in a gloss and I don't want to compete and use a matte. So I'm just going to add this Mod Podge generously, and I'm going to add my pieces on there wherever I want until it looks like this. And then I do another coating on the top just to give that extra seal. And then I allow it to dry completely. Here it is, nice and dry. And I'm just going to simply embellish this with one little bow. And I'll use my favorite Dollar Tree ribbon for Halloween and make my quick little bow and adhere it to the top of my soap dispenser. And that is it for this one. Super quick and easy. And here's how it looks. For DIY number 35, I am taking this 2x4 and I'm painting it with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant. And now with the rest of the paint that I have in my little dish, it's got black, it's got gray. I'm going to kind of distress the whole piece, give the whole piece that kind of spooky look, that kind of aged look, and I'll do all of the sides until I get it to look like this. And now I'm taking a pack of these Halloween metal words from the Crafter Square. And these were actually from last year. I haven't seen them this year yet, but I'm sure they're coming. And I'm going to use the words haunted and the words spooky. And now I'm going to add some of this apple barrel paint in the color jack-o'-lantern into my paint dish and mix it up just a tiny bit. And very, very lightly, I am going to paint the haunted word. So like this, just very lightly. Not give it full coverage at all. Just give it that kind of spooky look. And I'll do that to the haunted, the full word, until I get it to look like this. Look at that. Once it dries, oh my goodness, it looks so good. And now I'm going to take some of my apple barrel paint in the color white and add a little dab in my dish and mix that a tiny bit with the rest of the paint that's in there. And I'll paint my word, my spooky word, with this concoction, with this mixture. Look at this. It's looking spooky. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I think I have too much fun with Halloween. Okay, so I'll let that dry. And now here's my 2x4 nice and dry. And so now all I'm going to do is get some E6000 and adhere this to my 2x4. And you have to use E6000 or super glue because hot glue and metal words do not mix. They'll just fall off. They'll give it a good day or so and they'll just fall right off. So E6000 or super glue, which I just chose to do E6000. So here I'm just going to center it, place it on there, and flip it over. And add my spooky word on the other side. So now this is double-sided. So now I can either display this as haunted or I can display it as spooky. So this will be a very versatile piece. And I think it's going to be really cute. And if you want to dry this even quicker, put the heat gun to it and it'll dry everything a lot quicker. For DIY number 36, I'm going to begin with one of these voice activated dome lamps from the Dollar Tree. It was only $1.25 and it's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, plug it in to a USB outlet. Dome light, turn off the light. Dome light, turn on the light. Dome light, brighten the light. Dome light, dim the light. Dome light, change the color. Dome light, change the color. I guess I was saying dome light, but it's actually dome lamp. But I guess it still worked. Okay, so now I'm taking some more of my remnant pieces of vinyl and my scissors and cutting out some more eyes, because this little lamp is going to be a ghost. Because look how cute. It's like a perfect little ghost. And it lights up too. Oh my goodness, for $1.25. And little pieces of vinyl or stickers or whatever you have on hand. Fantastic. Super quick little hack. So I'm just going to place these on the light like this. And look how cute. It's a little ghost that lights up. So now I'm just going to take some more of this fabric and I'm just going to give it a little scarf looking thing. Or you could cover it on top. I didn't want to cover on top. So I think this was good enough for me. I think it's cute. And here's how it looks. For DIY number 37, I'm going to use this full pack of color your own wooden ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just simply going to add some hot glue and adhere all these together to create one nice thick block of wood. And I'm going to go in with the jack-o'-lantern paint by Apple Barrel, and now I'm going to do some dry brushing with some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, and also use a little bit of the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. I use the plaster for the majority of this jack-o'-lantern, and I apologize that I go out of frame just a tiny little bit. I think I must have moved my camera. I'm not sure what happened there. But once I figured it out, then for the dry brushing of the color ink, I do realize, okay, I was out of frame a little bit. So the ink, I'm just going to use a little bit for the mouth and the eyes just to give it a little bit of a spooky look. And I really like the fact that it's looking more like a block of wood instead of just little thin ornaments of wood. And this is perfect for a garland. So yes, absolutely, we're going to create a cute little garland, wood beaded garland. And I'm going to use, instead of jute twine, I'm going to use some more of this chenille yarn, which is not easy, but it comes out cute. So I'm just going to use my weeding tool to help poke it through the holes of my beads. And like I said, it's just going to be a small wood beaded garland for a tier tray. Look how cute. So I'm just going to use my weeding tool to help poke it through. And I'm just going to tie it in a good secure knot. And then I'll poke this back up into the first bead. That way it's nice and secure. You can't find the end. And once I get that on there, then I'll snip off the excess and pull all the beads back down. So you won't see a knot or anything. Now on the other end, I'm going to create my tassel. And the great thing about this chenille yarn is the tassel part. It looks like a spider. Yeah, it ends up looking like a spider. So cute. That was not my intention. My intention was just to make a tassel, but yeah, it looks like a spider to me. So once I tie this piece to my beaded garland, then I'm going to tie the tassel up top to make sure it's nice and secure. Give it a good triple knot, and then snip off all the excess. And as you can see, this stuff just makes a mess. Oh my goodness. But it's so much fun, and it's so nice. So now here I cut open the tassel portion, and I need to secure this other end up in the first bead as well. So I just use my poking tool again and poke it all the way through. And once I get it through the other side, then I'll pull it taut and snip off the excess. And now we can make sure that this is nice and secure. So here I'm just trying to poke it in there. In the meantime, all this stuff is just flying everywhere because I have my fan on. And that's all I do. Then I give it a nice haircut, and then I do go in with a little bit of creepy cloth and tie it where I tied the tassel closed. And that is it for this one. Super cute, super easy, and the block looks more substantial. Here's how it looks. For DIY number 38, these wooden boxes from the Dollar Tree. This one has the little ghost on it. And I'm going to go in with the craft paint, the chalkboard paint in the color black from Dollar Tree, and the Waverly chalk paint in the color Valley Slipper. And I also did a second one, but painted the little ghost in the Waverly chalk paint in the color lilac. So now I'm going to take those paints and I'm going to do some dry brushing. I'm going to do some of the pink on the lilac ghost, and then I'll do some of the lilac paint on the pink ghost. And it's just to give it a little bit of dimension, a little bit of shadowing. And I used one of the Dollar Tree pumpkins as inspiration for some of these DIYs. And this DIY you'll see later on. And here's how it looks, and you'll see it in this next DIY. With one of these crates from the Dollar Tree, this is the one with the slats. And I'm going to do a full coat with this chalkboard paint from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to set this aside. And now I'm going to take an assortment of birdhouses from the Dollar Tree and some of these cottage doors that I had on hand from my gingerbread building times. And I'm trying to figure out which one would look cute in the front of these little houses, these birdhouses. I don't want them to look like birdhouses. This is going to become a haunted mansion. So here I decided to use these three. I'm going to remove the perch posts. We're not going to need those at all. Now these doors don't fit perfectly, but that's okay. I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm going to remove some of the pieces that won't fit. So just pressing it down, giving it some pressure, and scoring a few times, and it'll just snip and snap right off. Now it fits perfectly. That second one fits great. This third one, have to do the same thing. Just hold it down and press a few times. Just keep scoring until it just breaks right off. Now here I'm removing the perch post off this little birdhouse. And look at that, fits great. Now I'm going to take my finger sander and sand off any bits and pieces off the bottoms where I cut them, where I cut these little doors. And now I'm ready to take some wood glue and adhere these doors onto the houses. And of course I'm going to use my super glue wood glue from the Dollar Tree. It works fantastic. And I'll just place each one and a little bit of hot glue as well. And if you don't have these kind of little doors, you can always take some cardboard and cut door pieces and place them on there. They'll still look great. And now I'm going to take some of the lightweight spackle from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to attempt to cover up any holes, this little peephole, and then the little cuts on the sides. Now on the stars, I have to fill them up with some hot glue first, and it took a couple times of adding the hot glue so it'll fill it. And then I was able to add my spackle to that area and it held it well. Filled it in just right. A little bumpy because I didn't sand it, but that just adds to the spookiness of the buildings. A little spooky. And now I set them aside so they'll dry. And I also removed that hanger on the top of the tall birdhouse. I just snipped it off with my scissors and poked in the rest of that and just let it go inside. Okay, now I'm ready to paint, and I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color Belly Slipper, the Apple Barrel acrylic paint, bright magenta, and the Dollar Tree pink paint. And I also used the black chalkboard paint from the Dollar Tree for outlining the roofs and the bottoms. Now I'm going to do some more distressing with the Ballet Slipper and the lilac chalk paints in this manner, just to give it another hint of spookiness. And now I'm going to go in with some of this tulip puffy paint in the black, and I'm going to do a few designs on the roofs just to make it look extra cute, but it'll be spooky too. So this is like the waffle, I guess the waffle pattern or so that you would normally see in gingerbread. I think I'm wanting to do gingerbread soon. Is this the hint? Okay, so I just continue to do my little patterns, and if the lines don't go straight, hey, this is gonna look spooky. So hey, it looks spooky to me. And this one I'll just do like little scallops, and then I'll just continue all this until I get them all done. And I also did some outlining with some of this tulip paint and some of my markers. And now I'm going to use my finger sander to kind of weather everything a little bit, because we want things to look a little old and distressed and worn out and, I don't know, neglected. And then after I did all this, I just felt like they were still a little bit too bright. So now I'm going to do a little bit of distressing with the black paint that I've been using, just real lightly, nothing real strong, just super light, just to dirty it up some more. Because you know, haunted houses, they're totally distressed and worn and neglected. So yeah, like that. Now I'm going to take my little crate, and one of these little panels came off, but you know what, I went ahead and took off the second one because I'm going to put them back on, but in a crisscross pattern to make it look like there's something mysterious inside this crate, something that's not supposed to be open, that got boarded up in the cellar or in the basement. And I'm just going to use the hot glue to do the crisscross here. And then I also take some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant to do a dry brush, because it looks a little too clean for black. So here I'm just going to do a little bit of dry brushing here. just to give it that weathered, dirty look. And now I'm going to take some of these mini styrofoam bones from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just dirty these up a little bit. They look a little too white. And then I'll take some hot glue and I'll adhere them onto this little crate. Some on the inside, some on the outside. Like somebody shoved a bunch of bones in there and they're trying to hide it. Yeah, this is a spooky haunted house. So now I'm going to start assembling my haunted house, and I'm going to take my larger birdhouse with some wood glue and some hot glue, and I'm going to place it on top of my cellar or basement crate full of bones. And then here are the little ghost boxes, and the smaller birdhouses will go on top of these. Now unfortunately, because these will go on top, I won't be able to open the backs to these little ghost boxes, but I already accepted it because I wanted this look. So I'm just placing these on the side, and I don't show it, but I do end up gluing all these little houses together. I just did that off camera because I forgot. So here's the second little house, placing that, but I do add lights underneath the crate. Later on you'll see that. Now here's the little witch that is from the Dollar Tree. It's metal. It's the little spring part is way too big, so I'm going to snip it off with my EMT shears, and then I'm taking my needle nose pliers to make the spring part a little smaller. And then I'm going to place this in the hole where that rope was hanging for the birdhouse. So once I get this small enough, it took me a little while to get it small enough. Now I'm going to take some of my Fix All adhesive from the Dollar Tree, made by Super Glue, and I'm going to add a nice glob of it. And now I can place this little witch up top. This is like the weather vane, I guess, or just a witch flying around. Yeah. So now I'm going to take some more of these little bat rings, some of these floral branches, some of these ribbons, and here's how it looks. For DIY number 39, I'm going to begin with two of these brand new Dollar Tree frames. They're kind of like an arch window kind of look. They're 5x7, they're plastic, but they have glass inside. So I'm going to take a paper towel, wipe off the glass, make sure it's nice and clean. Now I'm going to remove the backing with just these little latches that are on there. And these frames also come in a black color as well. But for this DIY, I'm going to use white because we're going to make ghosts. So now here I'm going to use some of this chiffon fabric that I've been using on several DIYs, and I'm going to cut it to fit. And I'm going to go ahead and then place the paper back on just to give it a nice white on the glass. Put all the latches back on. And now let me turn it around. Look at that. Cute. Now I'll do the same thing to the second one. Now I'm going to take some vinyl. I just have this little piece of remnant vinyl, and I'm going to just cut out some circles with my scissors. And these will be the eyes and the mouth to my ghost. So here I'm just trying to figure out where I want these because none of my circles are perfectly round, being that I just cut them with scissors. This makes it a little bit more organic. You can also use these round chalkboard stickers from the Dollar Tree if you don't want to cut any vinyl or if you don't have vinyl. But I had some remnant pieces of vinyl, so put them to work. Yeah, put them to good use. So I'm just going to stick these where I want them in this manner and like this. Now I'm going to take some of this brand new ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and it's got the little ghost. Oh, here's a skew. Look at the little ghost. Oh my goodness, so adorable. And I just made a regular bow for the missus. Place it on top. And then for the mister, I wanted to make him a bow tie kind of bow, but I went ahead and just did something a little different just because, I don't know, just because I felt like it. But you can actually totally do a bow tie, a proper bow tie bow, if you'd like. So all I did was wrap this around my hand a few times and then cinch the center, and with a piece of, this is elastic, but you could use jute cord or whatever, and tie a knot. And I did a good triple knot on here and snipped off the excess. And now I'm going to open up the loops. So this kind of reminds me of those old-fashioned ties from the West. I don't know. I guess these ghosts are from the West. The Wild Wild West. I don't know. But I thought it was cute. So I'm just going to add a dab of glue and place it on him right here. And they do have these frames in a smaller size. It would have been cute to have a little boy or a little girl, but this is what we get. Mr. and Mrs. Here's how they look. For DIY number 40, one of these galvanized metal mason jars from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to take my screwdriver and remove the screws and remove this off its base, because we're going to make something really cute with this. Halloween spooky, but yet cute. Okay, so now I'm going to take my finger sander, remove any excess wood, and go in with this apple barrel, paint in the color jet blue, paint it up in this manner. I'm going to take some of this craft fabric from the Dollar Tree. I thought this fabric was super cute. It's got the orange and the black buffalo check. And I'm going to take a little piece, try to just quickly measure in this manner, make a little notch and tear off the fabric. It's my preferred way of cutting fabric, with just some tears. I really like the fringe. I think I'm really into it nowadays. So here's a little notch, and rip this off. Now I'll make two, because I'm going to make this double-sided. So here's another little notch. Tear that up, and now I can begin. I'm going to take some of my Mod Podge in the matte, and I'm going to do a nice generous coat. And the reason why I painted it first is that way it could be a nice base to my fabric. That way my fabric is not looking too sheer. Sometimes these fabrics are a little bit thin, a little bit see-through. And I'm going to add some more Mod Podge on top, spread that on, take this, and I allow this to dry completely, and I do the other side as well. So here it is, both sides done. Now I'm going to snip off the excess with some scissors, and I'm going to leave the little fringe up top. I think that is kind of cute. So now I'm going to take some more fabric. This is also from the Dollar Tree, and I used this fabric for another DIY. And so I'm just going to kind of figure out how much I'm going to need. I just want to make like a little square for like a little label kind of look. I'm going to take this fabric, cut little notches, and tear off these pieces of fabric like this. So now I'm going to take my fingers and remove some of the threads to make the edges a little more frayed. The sides, there's one side that needed more, a little bit more fringe. So now I'm going to take some more Mod Podge and do the same steps in this manner. Allow this to dry. Here it is, nice and dry. And now I'm going to take this little decal that I made with my Cricut. Now if you don't have a Cricut, you can do stickers, you can do rub-on transfers, you can do anything you want. You can even write on it, or you can even have the kiddos draw on it. Yeah, you can draw on that. I'm just going to use my Cricut and cut out these decals, because I was using my Cricut anyway. So I went ahead and cut this out real quick, and it just says Ghost Treats, and it's just a cute design that I found in the Cricut design space. So I'm just going to use this, and I'm just going to remove the transfer tape, and just look how cute, the little ghost. So now I'm going to add one more layer of the Mod Podge, because I want this sealed up, and allow that to dry completely. Now I'm going to take some of the Waverly chalk paint and the color ink to do a little dry brushing. I just want to do a little dab of dry brushing on the top of this mason jar. That way it gives it that worn look, like this. And now I'm going to take some of the Distressing ink by Tim Holtz in my little applicator and apply that to the fringe of this yellow orange colored fabric, just to make it look a little dirty, a little Halloweenish, if that's even a word, but it is now. Okay, like this. And now I'm going to place this back on the base, and I'm just going to use my little screws that came with it and put it back together. And now I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing. I'm going to take some of this black jute twine that I got from Dollar Tree some time ago, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the end, make a makeshift needle. And I'm taking some of these beads that I had in my stash. I believe I got them from Amazon some time ago, and I do have them linked in my Amazon storefront if you're interested. And I'm just going to take some tweezers and pull the jute twine through, and take enough jute twine that I need, and I'm going to put another bead through, again using my tweezers. It works great. And now I'm going to make some knots to lock them in. I believe I did 3, and then snip off the excess, and then I go to the other side of my jute twine and do the same thing. And I'm going to take this jute twine and just wrap it around the top of this faux mason jar and then tie it into a knot and allow these beads to just kind of dangle down. And I think that makes it look super cute because it kind of matches the fabric. And I just kind of pull the whole thing to one side like this. Look how cute. Now I'm going to take this little faux candy. I don't even know where I got it, but it was in my stash. And I'm going to add it to the jar because it's supposed to be treats. And then for final embellishment, I'm just going to add some of this creepy cloth that I had pieces of. And that is it. This is how it looks. For DIY number 41, I'm going to take one of these Happy Halloween tree collars from the Dollar Tree, and I'm not going to paint it or do anything to it. And I'm going to take one of these chargers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to create a pedestal to display my haunted mansion and my beaded garland. And this is just super simple. I'm just going to take some more of this Fix All from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go around the whole interior circumference of this tree collar, and then I'm going to place it down on the back of the charger, center as best I can, and that is it. Allow this to dry overnight, and it's beautiful. And here's how the pedestal looks. For DIY number 42, I'm going to make a wood beaded garland because I had this assortment of pink and purple beads, wooden beads, so hey, why not? So I'm just going to add a few different shades of pink, a few different shades of purple, and some of these spiderweb ones, and these little ghost ones that I got from Amazon, and I'll link everything in my description box for you guys. Now I'm taking some of this jute twine. It's in black and white from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this to add all my beads. I add a little dab of glue on the end, that way it's easier to thread, and place all my beads on here. And now I'm going to use some of the just black jute twine from the Dollar Tree. I love these larger spools. They're just totally worth the $1.25. And I'm just going to wrap it around my hand a good 30 times. And I'm just going to place the black and white jute twine through the loop of this tassel. And I'm going to use 2 pieces of these ribbons from the Dollar Tree. This one is the spiderweb one, probably my favorite Halloween one. And then this one is just a gross grain pink ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to kind of layer them together. But I'm going to make the pink one a little longer. That way you'll be able to see both on this garland. And of course I'm going to dovetail all the ends. And then I also do the same process of a tassel for the other side, just so you know. So here I'm going to go ahead and tie it loosely just so I can continue with creating my tassel. So I go ahead and hold it down, and I'm going to use some more of the black and white jute twine to wrap around and create the tassel on the top. And I do a good, I don't know, 10 times or so. I didn't count that one, but I just kind of wrap it as tight as I can because it's pretty thick. And then I go ahead and tie it in a little knot, and I snip off the excess. And then later I'll secure that knot with a little dab of glue and one of those little spider pieces from that spider ribbon that I showed you earlier. So that's how I do that little knot. Now that I completed that part, I'm going to take the excess piece of my jute twine and I'm threading it through the holes of these first 3 or so beads. That way the jute twine is completely concealed. You won't be able to find it. It won't be able to unravel or anything, come apart, and this will help it all be nice and tight. And then I go ahead and snip off the excess piece after I threaded it back up through. Now here I'm pushing all my beads back down, and I'm going to go ahead and snip off and open the tassel like this, all the jute twine, and then I just gather all the jute twine, kind of brush it with my hand and give it a little trim. That way it looks nice and finished. And then I do the same exact thing to the other side. So it looks like this. And here is the spider ribbon that I mentioned earlier, and I go ahead and snip off 4 pieces, and I'll add 1 spider to each side of each tassel. Here's how it looks. For DIY number 43, pumpkin decor plaques. They're made out of MDF, but more like a chipboard. I'm going to pop off the embellishments, including this burlap that came off pretty easily, except for this little part here. So for here, I just took my needle nose pliers and kind of wrapped it around on one end and just kept turning it until the whole thing just pulled right off, just like that. And then I removed the base as well. That came off pretty easily. Removed all the glitter. There was a lot of glitter, and I'm just using my finger sander to remove this. And look at all that glitter. I call it devil dust. Okay, so remove that. Now I'm just going to clean it up real quick with my mini vacuum. Did a great job. My little ladybug. She's so cute. So once I get that done and clear off my craft table, I'm going to go in with this paint in the color Sterling Silver by Folk Art. Did both sides. Now I cut out this pumpkin design out of Cricut Design Space, and I wanted to do like a faux mirror, but that silver wasn't as silver as I wanted it to be. So I went to plan B, and I'm going to take a piece of foil. This came from the Dollar Tree. They're foil sheets, and I'm going to crumble it up to make like a crumble up effect, and then pull it open slowly and carefully, not to tear it. Wrap the whole pumpkin around all the way to the back, and then look, this will make it look like a faux mirror, I think. So I'm just going to contour it to this shape like this, press down. I fixed the back a little bit later, and I actually glue it together. I'll show you in a little bit. Now my original idea was to repurpose one of these spring mix lids that I like to use. If you follow me, you know I use these for quite a few projects, but I was fortunate enough that this vinyl came with a clear plastic, so I think I'm just going to use it like this. Save myself a step. So I'm just going to finish trimming off this plastic to the shape of this pumpkin until I get it just perfect. And now I'm going to go in with some of the Fabri-Tac fabric glue because it's clear and it's a good glue. I know I could trust it, not like the Dollar Tree stuff. Do not get the clear Dollar Tree craft glue. Believe me, don't. This works best. This is good stuff. I'm just going to outline it on the dark edges, that way you don't see it, but you don't see it anyway. I've used it for other projects and you don't see it. It dries pretty invisible. And I'm going to place it on my pumpkin and then place something heavy on top and allow it to set for a while. Now here it is, nice and set. And look at that. See, I just showed you the back. I had glued it together. Now I'm going to take the base that this came with, add some hot glue, do pretty generous amount because I really can't place this back in that groove. I'm just going to do the best I can and press it down until it sets, which it does set. And I'm just going to embellish with a little bit of creepy cloth, and that is it for this one. It's just a little pumpkin looking glass haunted mirror. Here's how it looks. For DIY number 44 and 45, this wood plaque from the Dollar Tree, it looks like a sign, and I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. And now again, I'm going to go in with the Waverly paint color plaster, and I'm going to dry brush, and I'm going to go in the direction of the wood grain. So on this particular plaque, the wood grain was vertical, so that's how I'm going to dry brush. So I'll go ahead and do both sides, front and back, give it a nice cohesive look. And I do a little bit thicker on the front side just because I think it just gives it that little bit more eerie spookiness, but fun. So now here I didn't need for it to dry too much because it was a dry brushing, and I'm adding a vinyl that says "Boo Y'all." And I know what you're thinking, why are you putting black vinyl on this black painted sign? But there's a method to my madness. So now I'm going to go in with this Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster again, but this time I'm just going to go real thick on the words. And I'm going to allow this to dry completely. But first I'm going to take my weeding tool and I'm going to remove the vinyl letters before it dries. That way the dry brushing underneath is revealed with the letters. And I just love this kind of look. I think this looks so nice and the letters just pop. So just be careful because you have to definitely do this before the paint dries, or some of the paint might peel off with the letters, so just be careful. And of course, with any of these vinyl projects, you can use stickers or even stencils from the Dollar Tree. And now with all the plastic removed, I can dry this a little bit better with my heat gun. And now I'm going to take one of these cupcake wrappers from the Dollar Tree, and they are pretty good quality. They are a thick paper, almost like a plastic, but it's paper. And I'm going to snip off the two ends that you use to assemble this together. And now I'm just going to take some hot glue and I'm going to adhere it to the very top of this sign. It just gives it a really pretty decor to it. Very Halloween vibe with those spider webs. Looks super cute. Now I'm taking some black jute twine that I had in my stash, and I'm taking a little bit of hot glue to make a makeshift needle on the end. That way it's easy to poke through the hole on the plaque. And so I'll create a nice knot to keep it in place. And I'm going to snip off what I feel I need and do the same thing to the other side. Add a little dab of glue and poke the piece of jute twine through the hole and putting the knot in the front. I think the knots on the front are a better look than putting the knots on the back. I think it just looks more decorative. Now here I'm taking two of these spooky hands. They are glow in the dark, and I'm going to take my EMT shears and snip off the ends. I'm not going to need them. I'm just going to adhere them with some hot glue right in these spots. So I'll press it down and I'll use some craft clips to keep them in place. That way they're nice and tight. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. Use another craft clip. And now I'll go in with some of this die cut ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and these are just little spiders, and I'll just snip off what I feel I'm going to use, maybe 3 or so, and I'm just going to embellish this sign with some of those little spiders. I'll add one to the back of this hand, and I'll add one to the fingers on this hand like a ring. And then I'll add one more close to where the apostrophe was. But first I'm going to use my finger sander now that this paint is nice and dry, and I'm just going to soften all the edges of this plaster paint. That way everything kind of flows. And look how cute. Now it looks pretty beat up and worn. Now I'm taking the last little spider and placing it where the apostrophe is, right here. Super cute. And now I'm going to take one of these trays from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take a variety of cups and bowls from the party section of the Dollar Tree. Anything that's clear, like these little bowls here, and some of these bigger bowls here. I'll take 3 of these. They're just a little bit larger than the first ones. And then for the back, I'll use some of these glasses. They're the wine glasses. And I'll place these on the back. And I'll just stand them up because I'm going to use the curved parts of all these pieces. So here I'm going to add the little bottoms to it like this. Place everything where I want it. Now I'm going to take some of this creepy cloth, this cream colored creepy cloth, and I'm going to snip off enough to cover all these cups and bowls. Not too thick, just a nice thin coat. And I'll just place one on each one until they look like this. And now I'm just going to use some of this Jot glue, white glue from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to pour out a nice glob of it. And I'm going to add 2 parts water to this 1 part of glue. And I'm creating a paper mache type of mixture. Who remembers paper mache? So now I'm going to take each of these pieces of creepy cloth and dunk them in this paper mache mixture and make sure they're all nice and coated. And then I'm going to place it on my cups and bowls. And I'll do this to every single one of them until they look like this. And I'll give you a quick peek of the front view, how it's going to look in the front. Now here they are nice and dry. They are all nice and hard and stiff. Perfect. I don't like the way the shininess of the cup shows, so I'm going to go in with some of this white paint, real light coating of it, just to get rid of the shininess. And now I'm just going to go in with some more of this creepy cloth for each of my cups, and I'm going to add some little faces with these decals and some LED tea lights. And this is how they look, a fun family project. For DIY number 46, 47, 48, and 49, I'm going to begin with these two Dollar Tree Haunted House plaques. This is the normal one, but I'm using the two large ones. These were brand new last year, and I sure hope they bring them back this year because they are pretty fantastic. Here's the SKU if you're interested. So now I'm going to take two of these MDF decor pieces of wood that the Dollar Tree has. Here's the SKU. And I'm going to remove all this plastic. And these fit the haunted house perfectly. When I say perfectly, I mean, look at this. Pretty perfect. Look at that, both sides. And these were gifted to me by my sweet friend Diane. If you saw my video last week, you know. So I'm going to use two of these, and I'm going to use my super glue wood glue to adhere these onto the haunted house plaques. Now these MDF pieces of wood, they're pretty heavy, so I want to go heavy with my wood glue. I don't want anything falling apart on me. I'm just going to line them up perfectly. I'm not going to use any hot glue for this because I really want a good strong hold. So I'm using a generous amount of the wood glue, and this will do a great job. So now once I get that in line, remove any excess glue with baby wipe, and I'm going to add some more glue to the tops, and then I'm going to add the other haunted house plaque on top and make sure to get it good and level and perfect on there. So now I'm going to set this aside, allow this to dry naturally. Now I'm going to take some tumbling tower blocks and I'm going to make a roof for this house. I'm not going to cover the whole perimeter of this house because I have something else in mind for this haunted house. So here I'm just taking some of the wood glue and I'm going to place it in between the two planks. And yes, this fits perfectly on there. One of these tumbling tower blocks, look at that. So now I'm going to take a few of my heavy paint bottles, containers to help keep everything down because I am moving the little roof part. So I'm just going to keep working on the roof. And here I was going to do one by one. And then I thought, wait a minute. Don't work harder, work smarter, woman. So I went ahead and took a few of the tumbling tower blocks and just glued them together to create like a little wall. And then I adhere that to the inside of the roof on both sides. So as you can see here, I'm just doing 3 and then 4. And I think I ended up doing 5. So 6 total because I already had the one. One more. I'm trying to figure out placement. So I needed one more. So I'm going to add that to this. And if you ever use this glue, you know that it sets pretty quickly. So I'm just going to set this aside for a moment. And I'm going to make the other side. So here's the other side all ready to go. In the meantime, this one's ready now. And I'm going to add some glue to both sides, the top and the bottom of this, I guess, little wall. I want to call it a wall. And I'm just going to place it inside very gently. And look at that. Perfect. I'm going to remove all these bottles and containers. The rest of the glue is pretty much set. So here I'm just going to go ahead and turn this around and do the other side the same way. Add some glue like this and on the other side. And then very gently kind of nestle it inside like this. And kind of push it down. And I know I have to work kind of fast because this glue sets pretty quickly. So here I go as far as I can go and allow this to set. But I'm a little impatient, even though this glue adheres pretty quickly. I'm going to use my heat gun to help get it nice and cured quickly, and this works great. So in no time, it's good to go. So look at that. I'm going to show you real quick. Here is one side of the roof, here's the other, and look at that, so cute. So I'm going to go in with Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, paint it all up everywhere, inside, outside, top, bottom, everything, underneath, all of it. So now I'm going to take the Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant, and using my chunky chippy brush, I'm going to do a nice distressing on it because it is a haunted house, and it's got to look distressed. It's got to look a little decrepit and a little old and what have you. So look at that, just like that. So now when I did my cat resin projects, I had extra resin, so I went ahead and used it up and filled up these molds. These are just windows and doors, and I had no clue this would fit here. Look how amazing it fits. Fits almost perfectly. Oh my goodness. And so now these here are 2 little shutters. I only had 2, so I'm just going to put 1 on each side of these 2 windows in a diagonal broken kind of way. And then here's one more. Pull this one off, and this one fits this bottom window. Now I didn't have any more, So for the other two, I went ahead and got some craft sticks. These are from the Dollar Tree. These are the biggest ones the Dollar Tree has are these. If you want anything bigger, you have to go to Walmart or Amazon. But these are pretty good size. So I'm just going to snip off the rounded ends with my EMT shears. And then I'm going to cut them in half because these will be the old boards to board up my windows. So I'm going to cut enough to do the back windows on the back side of the house. And then this window here for the doorway, I have another idea. But for now, I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant, paint these up, and then I did do a door. These are the doors that I use for my gingerbread houses, but I felt like this shape was pretty cute for a haunted house, so I just went ahead and painted it up with the same color. And I'm just going to adhere with some hot glue and place it on there. Now here I'm going to flip this over and add all these boarded window pieces just like that, and that's how that's going to look. Now flip it back over, and now I'm going to take some of this dragonfly glaze from Folk Art, and it's a color changing glaze, and I'm just going to take my small paintbrush and just paint around the edge of this door and the two boards on the front, just to kind of make everything go together with the other pieces that are on the windows. They're kind of like the same color scheme. It's kind of like a thin glitter, but it's on a glaze. Okay, so now here I have one more piece that I had poured into a mold, just a little bit too large for this haunted house for the top of it. So I'm going to take my scissors and go ahead and snip off the sides. This is still pliable enough that I can snip it off. And so this will work out perfectly for that hole on the top. And so I'm just going to add a dab of glue and place that on top of my haunted house. And my haunted house is complete. And I think it's adorable. And this is how it looks. Potion bottles. This time I'm going to use these bottles that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. These are spray bottles, but I'm not going to use the little spray nozzles, and these bottles are plastic. Now these bottles here are glass, and they're just little vial looking bottles, and they had several sizes of other glass vial bottles with little corks, but they were so tiny, so I skipped those. Now for these, I'm going to use some other paint colors, a silver, a gold. I'm going to use this purple and this fuchsia. And instead of the rubbing alcohol, I'm going to use mineral oil to see how that looks. And I did them exactly the same way as the other DIY. That's why I didn't show you guys. Now these two had some of the gold paint, just different color mica powders. Came out cute. And then these two are with the silver, slightly different. Gotta shake them up. So yeah, this one had the silver as the base color. And then this one had the fuchsia. Gotta shake it up. And then last but not least, the purple one. Here's how this one looks. You just got to shake it up to make it look cute. Kind of has like a lava lamp kind of effect, I guess, because it's oil and water. Oh, and on the spray bottles that I got from the Dollar Tree, these here, I had these little silicone stoppers. So that's what's on top of those. So now I'm going to go in with some of these ribbons just to make it look cute. So I'm going to take a piece of this white sheer ribbon from the Dollar Tree, kind of crisscross it in the front, give it like a little collar in the back, kind of make it look a little fancy schmancy. And then holding up the tails, adding a dab of glue on the bottle and letting the tails fall down. Using my silicone spatula, press it down, hold it, because this is sheer ribbon and it can burn for sure. So I'm going to allow that to set for a second. Now I'm going to look for some seals. I think these are so cute. I think I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to have to use a little bit of hot glue because these don't stick very well. So a little dab of hot glue and place it in the center, hold it down, use my silicone spatula because this is hot. And here I have a little extra glue that came out. So I just went ahead and pulled it off. And look, it's so cute. So now I'm going to snip off some of the tails just to make it look a little bit more cohesive and remove any excess glue that did seep out. Now I'm going to take my heat gun to help melt some of that glue. So now it looks cute. And I did that to the second one. Now for the smaller bottles, the glass bottles, I'm just going to take some of the black sheer ribbon and I'm just going to tie a good tie on the very top, not a bow, just a couple knots to make a tie like this and allow those to just go where they want to go. Snip off any excess, of course, and just let it do what it wants to do. Now I had these gem looking vase filler from the Dollar Tree, and I thought these would look cute on top of these bottles. these plastic bottles that had the stoppers in them. So I'm going to add some hot glue inside the stoppers and press these gems inside. And that just took it over the top. Oh my goodness, that came out so cute. It looks so good. I just love how these came out. And here's how they look. A resin project, so I'm going to repurpose an Amazon package envelope and some of these cups from my grandson's fruit cocktail. And I'm going to take some of this resin, this epoxy, and add an equal amount inside of each of these cups because I'm going to do 3 different colors of resin. So here's a third one. And yes, I'll be using gloves in a little bit. I always have a hard time opening these little packages with my gloves on. So I'm going to use these little mica powders. And like I said, these little packages are a little bit difficult for me to open. So I just have to use my fingernails, and I can't do that with gloves. So here I go, adding my colors. This is a blue color that's mixed with a couple other colors. And then this is a reddish color mixed with other colors as well. I always have a hard time opening these things. And then last but not least, I have this purplish color and place it in my cup like this. And now I can put my gloves on. So I'm just going to take some gloves and place them on my hands. And I'm also going to use some craft sticks for mixing. So here I'm mixing up the purple one. It's kind of bluish purple. Really, really pretty. And then this blue one. It's got blue, gold, and I think green in it. And then this one here, it's got different colors. I'll show them to you right here. Now here I'm just trying really hard to mix it very well. I don't want to have any issues. So now here I'm going to use the hardener. And I'm just going to pour it in here and do one color at a time. So here is the hardener. I'm going to do the purple color. Get all the goodness out of my cup. And again, do a good mix, especially when you mix these two. The epoxy, the resin, and then the hardener. You got to make sure to mix it very, very well. The more mixing, the better. You cannot overmix. So now I have these silicone molds with these perfume bottles, or you can be potion bottles. They're going to be potion bottles for me. And I'm going to pour in some of this blue on this large one and this medium-sized one. Get a nice good pour. And it's pretty much self-leveling. It's the same method as the resin from the Dollar Tree. So if you happen to find the Dollar Tree resin, it's the same way. So now I have these other little kind of like molds, but I'm going to clip them with some of these craft clips because they tend to leak. And so I'm just going to make sure there's not going to leak. And I'm going to pour in these molds like this. And I will set these aside so they will dry and cure. I did allow them to set for a good day overnight, especially these 3D bottles. They're pretty thick in there. So I'm just going to put this on the side. You won't see it for a minute, but they're on the side where they won't spill over. Now here's another bottle, another 3D bottle, and pour some more. And I did the same method with all 3 of my mica powder colors for about 6 of the bottles, the 3D bottles, and then filled up these silicone molds that are on the table until they look like this. Look at this. This is a lot. Now here they've been setting out for a little bit. These are pretty much done, but I'm going to wait for these to finish setting inside. So I'm just going to remove all the clamps. I'm safe to do that at this point. And I'm just going to place them in this Dollar Tree tray. That way I can set it aside until the 3D bottles are ready to be unmolded. So here it is the next day. Here are all my pieces. I'm going to take them out of the tray. And at this point, I'm going to proceed with caution just because I don't know what to expect here. But look, oh my goodness, they came out so good. Look how cute they are. Oh my goodness. They are so good. These are the flat ones. They're nice and sturdy and shiny and smooth. This one was a little bit stuck, but came right out. Now for the 3D ones, these are the ones I was nervous about. Look how cute. Oh my goodness. These are fantastic. So magical, so pretty. I love these. These are so, so good. Now with any kind of resin project, you want to kind of clean them up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, just in case there's any residue or anything. You don't want to burn your fingers. Now here you could tell that the molds did leak a little bit, but it's not too bad. I was able to remove the majority of it with just some scissors to just snip right off. These aren't completely set. They are still pliable. So this was an easy thing to do. Now, once I allow these to set for a while, you won't be able to do this. So when you take them out, that's the best time to do it. Look how cute. Now here is the rubbing alcohol. I need to really clean this up. One did feel a little sticky, so I want to make sure to remove any residue. I definitely don't want to burn my fingers with chemicals for sure. So at this point, I think maybe gloves would have been better to use, but I don't know. I felt confident it was going to be fine. Yeah, this red one here had a little bit of stickiness to it, but the rest of them came out fantastic. Now again, I did have some leftover resin, so I didn't want to throw it away. So instead, I took these two wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. They're coasters, and I painted them with some of the chalk paint in the color Elephant, and I poured my resin. I didn't show it, but here it is, nice and set. And I'm going to go in with the Waverly chalk paint and the color Ink and do a distressing on it, because this is going to go with my haunted house. It's going to be like a little paver in the front. I don't know, you'll see it. You'll see it in the final reveal. But for now, this is what it looks like. I'm going to use one of these wooden trucks from the Dollar Tree that my sweet friend Diane gifted me. Remove the tag, and I'm going to take some craft sticks, just 2 of the regular craft sticks from the Dollar Tree, well, the larger ones, and I'm going to snip off the ends like I did for my boards for my windows for my haunted house. And then these, I'm going to add some glue, and I'm going to give this truck a center, a base, because this truck will be holding and transporting all of my resin potion bottles, well, the flat ones anyway. I'll be transporting them, so you gotta have a base, gotta have something for them to sit on. So I'm just going to, here with some hot glue, place that on through the sides or the middle, and then do a second one just to make sure it's nice and strong. Kind of reinforce it like this, and then add another little dab of glue on the other side. I don't want anything slipping. So once I get that done, and this sets pretty quickly because it's hot glue, now I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ink, paint it up completely like this, and now going with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant and my Chucky Chippy brush, and I will do a distressing again. This will match my haunted house, same color scheme, and just go through the whole thing and give it a nice distressing like this. Then I'm going to take a few of these wooden jack-o'-lanterns that came in a pack of wooden pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use the same dragonfly glaze, but first I painted them black with a little bit of black paint. So as you can see here, they're ready to go. Cute. Now I'm going to add a couple of these small jack-o'-lanterns, one in the front and one at the back of these cars. It fits perfectly, and I think that would look kind of cute for Halloween. So this one here, and then one on the back, same way, just a couple of dabs of hot glue. Could have used the wood glue, but I was kind of like, let me get this done. So there's the other one. Now I'm ready for my resin potion bottles, and I'm going to add these larger ones kind of coming out on the top like this, and then some of the mid-sized ones, and then a couple of the tiny ones because there's 3 sizes like this. And then the jack-o'-lantern, I'm going to stick it in the center of the wagon part of the truck. And I'm just going to add a dab of glue and place it in there in the center like that. And then the rest of these, you will see them at the final reveal. And I do add some of these little beads on top of the 3D bottles just to make it look a little extra. And now I'm going to embellish these bottles with some of these sheer ribbons from the Dollar Tree. No bows or anything, just kind of tie them on there just to give them a little frou-frou. And then I do add a cute Halloween sticker to the truck that I needed something. But for now, here's how it looks. For DIY number 50, I'm going to begin by searching through Creative Fabrica for some cool graphics. So here it is. I've selected it, I downloaded it, and now I'm going to get ready to print it out in my printer. Here it is. But instead of paper, I'm going to use these labels. These are full-size labels that I purchased off of Amazon, and I'll have everything linked in my description box. They are full-length paper size sheets, and I'm going to place some of this chiffon type of fabric that I got from one of the thrift stores. It was like a little girl's dress. It was only a couple dollars, but the chiffon was fantastic. So here I placed all the chiffon on 2 of these sheets just in case I have any issues, but I didn't have any issues. It was perfect. So here it is going through my printer. It's just a regular Kodak printer, nothing fancy. And the best thing about this method here is if you want to print on fabric, this is how you do it. You get these long paper size labels and it works great. Look at this. It's so detailed, and I specifically chose this graphic because it's so detailed. And I didn't want the colored one. I wanted the black and white one to look classy. So here it is. Now I'm going to remove the fabric from the label. I'm just going to very gently pull it off. I don't want to stretch out my chiffon fabric too much. And I chose the chiffon fabric because it's a little bit translucent, transparent, and it's going to be fantastic for what I'm about to create. So now here I'm taking some parchment paper and I'm placing one of my sheets, and I'm placing another piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to heat set it with my mini easy press just to make sure all the ink won't wash off because this will be outside. So I want to make sure it's nice and set, and I want to make sure none of the ink is going to come off. And look, the parchment paper is clean as a whistle, so it worked great. So now here it is, ready to go for my little DIY, and this is going to be super simple. I'm just going to create a porch flag with this. So I'm just going to take 2 of these jumbo size craft sticks and snip off the 2 rounded ends, and then I'm going to use my crocodile to create some holes. That way I can string some jute twine for the hanger, and I'll do this to both of the sticks, make sure that they're lined up perfectly. And now I'm just going to go in with some of the Waverly chalk paint and the color ink to paint them up, and then I'll take some of the Waverly chalk paint and the color plaster to give them a dry brush and make them look a little spooky, because when this fabric is flowing in the wind, it's going to look a little bit spooky. So here I'm taking my fabric and placing it near my first craft stick, and I'm going to go in with some of the Elaine's tacky glue. And there is an Elaine's tacky glue for fabric as well, but this is the one I have on hand, and this one does work pretty well for fabric too, so this is what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to do a couple beads going across, and then placing my other craft stick on top to sandwich the top end of my chiffon piece of fabric. And now I'm going to allow this to sit overnight just to make sure everything dries well and cures nicely. And I'm going to use these craft clips to keep them in place and get them nice and tight. Now here's the next day. Everything is nice and tight. Everything adhered just very well. And now I'm going to use some of this black jute twine. I'm not sure where I got it. It was in my stash, but I'm sure it's not difficult to find. And I'm just going to use some of this for a hanger. And I'm just going to poke it through the hole and do a good triple knot. When I say triple knot, I'm going to wind it up 3 times. That way the knot stays and it doesn't slip off. Now I'm going to remove all the excess jute twine. And now I'm just going to simply embellish with a little bit of creepy cloth, and I'll just place them on both ends just to make it look creepier as it flows in the wind. And here's how it looks. For DIY number 51 with Plaque, that did come from the stash, and I'm going to go in with some of this folk art paint in pure orange color. I felt like this orange was pretty close to this pack of window clings that I got from Dollar General, because I want to use this one here, this one window cling, and this is a fun project for the kiddos. All you need is a piece of wood, paint it, and then get some window clings like this one here. This little ghost was a little bit too big. It was sticking out of the plaque. So I went ahead and snipped it off, but we're not throwing it away. We're just going to trim off some of the excess plastic that's on here. And then I'm just going to take some Mod Podge. This one's in the matte. And I'm going to use a new brush. Finally needed a new brush. So I happen to find one. And I'm just simply going to adhere this with some of the Mod Podge. I'm first going to straighten it out to where I want it. And then I'm going to fold it in half upwards. Add some Mod Podge. Spread it nice and even. Now on this project, don't go too generous. I went a little generous here. Try to do a light coat for window clings. You don't really need too much like you do for fabric. And then kind of spread it down and add some more to the top. And then fold it back on the other side. This helps to keep everything nice and centered. And do the same thing. Add the Mod Podge. Spread it nice and evenly. Then coat. And then place them on the top. Get it nice and sealed. And then with the ghost, I decided to put that on top, but allow it to come out a little bit. So right here, I'm about to show you. I'm going to press it down and then Mod Podge that on there, or decoupage it on there. And get everything nice and even. Allow that to dry completely. Now once it dried, I'm going to use my Tim Holtz distressing ink to again give it a little bit of dimension, a little bit of distressing. Got to make it look a little dirty, a little eerie, a little spooky. And that is it for this one. This is how it looks. For DIY number 52, I'm going to use another chalkboard, and I'm going to use these really cute jewel stickers. And so I'm going to roughly measure it and snip off the excess. And what's great about these jewel stickers is that they come in a long strip. So I'm just going to add a strip on the top and then one on the bottom. Look how cute. And they stick so well. And if you happen to not stick them correctly, they peel right off and you can fix it easily. So now I'm going to go in with some of this Waverly chalk paint in the color Steel. And with my chunky chippy brush, I'm going to do a distressing on it because I want this chalkboard to look kind of old and dusty and kind of neglected. And I don't show it, but I also paint the rest of this little chalkboard black, like the legs and the back and everything. So it looks like this. And so now I'm going to go in with some more of these rub-on transfers. So of course I'm going to use these potion bottles. Look at this. It's like a little grouping of potion bottles. How cute are these? And how perfect. So I'm just going to peel off the potion bottles and place them in the center of my chalkboard and rub, rub, rub. Not too hard. I don't want to scratch up the chalkboard, but just gently rub and peel off the plastic. When you see the top plastic clear, you know that it's transferred completely, like this. So now I'm going to take another pack and I'm going to snip off another little potion bottle and do the same thing. Put that on there. Look at that. It looks perfect next to the rest of this little grouping. And so now I decided to use a couple of these little ghosts and put them on there as well. And look how cute. And with my Cricut, I cut out some more words, and this one just says trick or treat. What do you guys think? For DIY number 53, 54, and 55, I'm taking one of these MDF wood words from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint it black with some black chalk paint. And now I'm taking some of the googly eyes that the Dollar Tree has, and I'm beginning with the larger ones, and I'm going to place a couple on the bottom, a couple on the top, and 4 in the center. And so once I get those in place, then I'll begin to add the smaller ones, and I'll just fill up this whole word with these smaller ones until it looks like this. Just look how cute. I'm taking one of these domes from the Dollar Tree, and these were from last year with the brown base. So I'm going to remove all the stickers on it, open it up, and I'm going to paint it black. And I'm also painting one of these round wood ornaments as well, like this. So now that I have them painted, I'm going to add these wood stems from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to create another riser just to give it that whimsical kind of look. Kind of looks like a stool. And now I'm going to take some floral moss and glue it onto the base of this dome. And I'm taking a couple pieces from Dollar General. This is just some resin piece. And then this other little piece. I thought they would look cute together. It's like a little tree, haunted tree, and a pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern. And now I'm taking some of these fairy lights from Amazon, and I'll have it linked in my description box. I really like these because of the battery pack is tiny. It's not bulky like the ones from the Dollar Tree. And I like the wire because it wraps easily around the projects. And so I just wrap it in there, put the dome on, and as easy as that. I'll tuck the little battery pack underneath the whole setup and put it on my riser. And that is it for this one. Look how cute! And you'll see the final reveal on this one in a minute after this next DIY. This crystal looking candle holder from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint it black. And then I'm taking some E6000, putting some glue on the top, and I'm going to add one of these little glass dishes from the Dollar Tree. They're like little condiment dishes, and I'm going to do a combination of the E6000 and hot glue and add one of these little skulls. And I'm taking one of these glass fishbowl vases from the Dollar Tree, and I'm making sure it's going to fit around this little skull. I'm not a big fan of the skulls, but I thought this one didn't look too bad, so I went ahead and used it. And I like the black color on it. It has like a iridescent kind of look, so I decided to go ahead and use it. And so now I'm taking some more of these Amazon little fairy lights, and I'll just wrap it around his little head, and I'll hot glue the backing to the back of his head. You won't even see it. So once I get all the lights put in there, then I'll place the little fishbowl back on his head, and it'll stay on there pretty well. I think it came out super cute. For DIY number 56, I am taking one of these black pool noodles from the Dollar Tree, and with my finger utility knife, I'm just going to cut them in various sizes like this. And I didn't measure, I just kind of like eyeballed it until I had 5 pieces. So here's 3, and then I'll cut 2 more pieces. Just make sure that they're all different in length. You don't want them all the same length, because these are going to be some spooky candles. So I'll go ahead and cut this last cut until I have them all like this. So once I have them all ready, then I'll trim off any edges that are not straight. And here I have these little black LED candles that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I want to put them in the inside. So I go ahead and make a hole big enough on each one of these little faux candles, and until I can fit one of these little candles inside. So like this. And I'll do them all. So here they all have that hole. So now I'm going to begin with some hot glue, and I'm trying to create some melted candle look, but my goodness, my glue was too hot. It started to melt the foam, but that's okay. What I did was I just continued, and then I went back when the glue cooled down. I went back and added some more glue, and then that actually helped make it really look like it was really melting wax. So it ended up being a good thing in the end. But at the time I thought, oh my goodness, I am making a mess. But look, it's looking like melted wax. Once the glue wasn't so hot, then it worked better. But definitely those first two, Oh my goodness, it just melted that wax, and I thought, oh no. So see, this is how they look. They look a little scary, but that's okay. We're gonna fix it because I'm gonna add some chalk paint and paint them all black, and now they look better. So now I'm taking the lid off one of these containers, these Halloween containers, and I'm taking some of this spooky cloth. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's like a spooky cloth. And here it is again. My glue's so hot. So I placed my spooky cloth on the lid of this lid, and so now all I have to do is hot glue all these faux candles in place and place them in a manner where they kind of make sense, that you can see the heights, the different sizes on them, and then I'll hot glue them all together into each other or onto each other. And look at this, they just keep falling everywhere, but just keep working it, they end up being real cute. So just hold them together till they're all nice and dry. And now I'm taking some of these they're like nets from those little buckets, and I'm going to cut them, and I'm going to create kind of like a ribbon to hold all my candles in place. So I'll go ahead and take those two, pull them, make a knot, a double knot, and then I'll go ahead and wrap it around the candles and then make a bow. And now I'll add my candles. I'll embellish with some of those roses with the eyeballs. For DIY number 57, I'm going to take another one of these potion bottles, these MDF potion bottles, and I'm going to set it on top of this foam tray. And with my pen, I'm just going to trace the outline of this potion bottle. And then with my X-Acto knife, I'm going to cut it out like this. And I'll keep cutting it until I get all the details just like I want them. I want this little bottle to look just like the original. Look at that. Super cute. So now I'll go in with some paint, some of the apple barrel paint in the color pewter gray, and I'll do a full coverage till it looks like this. And now I'll do the same thing to the other two bottles, and here I'm showing you how I'm drying them on these clips. And I'll paint these two bottles in English navy and khaki until they look like this. And here they are all painted, and now I'm going to embellish with some more of these beautiful rub-on transfers and stickers until they look like this. Look how cute. And here I'm going to go in with some more of this creepy cloth just to give everything a nice cohesive look like the other bottles. And now for the shower curtain. So I switched out the original shower curtain that I chose for this clear one because I decided to use this shower curtain to package up my homemade potion bottles. Yes. I'm using the shower curtain, guys. I'm using the shower curtain. So I'm just going to snip off what I don't need. I'm going to open it up and stick it inside like this. And then with just a little bit of Scotch tape, I will secure everything in place. And that is it. I am done with this one. Look how cute. For DIY number 59, I'm going to take this pack of laser cuts from the Dollar Tree, and this pack here had some kitty cats, and I thought, perfect, this will go great with my bats and cats video. Look how cute they are. Aw. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of the same chalkboard paint them on both sides like this. And now I'm going to take some of this very glittery ribbon. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what I'm thinking. But I kind of wanted to use a little bit of this purple sparkle. But again, you know, you can use whatever ribbon you'd like. Whatever ribbon suits your needs. I thought this contrast would look cute because these little kitty cats have the laser cuts in the body. So here I'm trying to figure out the best way to fit some of this ribbon so it'll have like a background to it, and this worked great. So I'm just going to add a few little dabs of hot glue and adhere this ribbon onto the back of my kitty cats. So just like this, press it down, that way it adheres. And I do the same thing to the second one, just kind of, I don't know, just kind of easily figure out how much you need. It doesn't have to be an exact science, it's pretty easy. And then press it down on this piece of sparkly ribbon. Oh my goodness. So now I'm going to use my scissors to trim down any pieces that are sticking out. That was pretty easy too. So far everything is kid friendly also, if you want to have the kiddos make something like this. I think they like the sparklies and the bright colors. This could be a kid friendly DIY for sure. Okay, so now here they are. You can kind of see the sparklies right through. Now I'm going to take this wood piece from the Dollar Tree. It's got the hanger, the jute twine hanger. And I wanted to paint this, but all I'm going to use is some of the dirty water from my paints. And look at this, it makes a great stain. Look at that. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Look at that. It makes a great stain. It looks spooky, kind of dirty. And it's just the old paint water from my brushes. But yeah, look at that. It looks great. Allow that to dry completely. But you know I'm impatient, so I'm going to use my heat gun to dry it up real quick. It dries up super quick. Okay, so now I can start placing my pieces on here. And of course, I'll begin with my little kitty cats. I'm going to start off by placing them on the sides. And I'm going to add some other little pieces that I have. I'm going to use this little witch, which I was actually wanting to save for next week's video. But that's okay. We'll use it here. Because when you see cats, usually there's a witch somewhere, I think. And for the rest, I'm just going to use some more of these wooden pieces from these packs. And also a little pumpkin jack-o'-lantern that came in another pack. And actually use more of that sparkly purple ribbon to make a quick little bow. And then that is it for this one. Oh, and let's not forget to burn all the fuzzies off of this jute twine. So I take a second to do that. Burn it all off. And then that is it. This is how it looks. And for DIYs number 59 and 60. I lost the footage to the beginning of this DIY, but I used this double-sided cardboard sign, and I went in with a Waverly chalk pen and the color ink, full coverage, and I used pieces of this tablecloth that I had on hand, and I adhered it with this Mod Podge, this dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I like to use dishwasher safe Mod Podge because I'm in Florida and it's so humid, so that's what I like. Anyway, just like this, I got another full coverage on the top until it looks like this. So now that it's nice and dry, now I'm going to go in with 2 cut files from the Cricut Design Space, and all I'm going to do is just peel these off and put them on my sign. So just like this, super easy, super quick, and very effective. The witch is in. Oh my goodness. And this one that says My Pretties is one that I actually created using one of the fonts in the design space. But look how cute. The witch is in My Pretties, and you'll see who my pretties are, as this has a meaning for sure. And now we'll just do a quick dry brushing on the wording, and that is it for this one. It's going to be, I'm using these 3 little peat pots from my stash, and I'm going to just go in with the Waverly chalk pen and do a dry brushing on it, just to give it a little bit of that old look, a little bit like it's been sitting around, dirty, like a witch. It belongs to a witch, yeah. So here I have some styrofoam pieces, and I'm just going to stick them in there. And in hindsight, I should have put some rocks in the bottom because my flowers become top heavy, but I do remedy that later on, and you'll see that. But for now, they're in there now, so we'll continue. So now I'm going to use some of this purple mesh tubing, and I'm going to use it in a very unconventional way. Definitely not what it's supposed to be used for, because it's just how I roll. Yeah, so here I'm taking the peonies and I'm going to snip them off their base like this, and I'm going to take each stem of these peonies and I'm going to put them through some of this tubing, and I'm going to put it through quite tight because when I put it in the flower pot it's going to be very bent, almost very whimsical and magical. Yeah, like it's been enchanted. See, look at this. Like it's been enchanted by the witch. Here, you saw where it fell down. Okay, so here now I'm going in with the rocks because, yeah, it's going to be too top heavy. And I end up doing this to all the flowers, and I do 2 flowers per pot. So I'll just keep working it until they look like this. So look at that. Look how they kind of curve. Yeah, like they're very enchanted by the witch. Oh my goodness, I get into it too much. Okay, so here I'm just securing all these flowers and tubing, and now I'm going to go in with this sparkle mesh. Oh my goodness, this stuff is like Glitter City. Glitter, oh man, it's pretty design, it's really pretty, but that glitter, whew. Okay, so now I put some of that tube meshing in all the pots, and so here I'm taking the berry garland and popping them off the wire, and I'm just going to adhere one to each of the center of each of the flowers because these are going to become eyeballs. Yeah, these flowers are going to be the witch's pretties, my pretties. So here I'm going to go in with a marker, just a standard marker, and I'm going to just draw some eyeballs, some like the iris and all that, and the pupil. Yeah, look at that. Just real simple, and I'll do all of them in this manner until they all look like this. My pretties. This will be our pretties. Okay, so now here I'm going to go in with some more of this fantastic glitter mesh. And I'm just going to fold it a few times, and I'm going to tie it around the pot just to make the pot, give it a little bit more detail to it. And I'll just tie it really tight in a double knot, but I'll fluff up the ends to almost look like a bow. And I'll do this to all the pots as well. But look at that, cute, cute, cute. So see the colors, the blues, the purples, the oranges. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with one of these little wood pieces. I'm going to use some of the Waverly chalk pen in the color Merlot, and I'm going to paint this flower in this color. And I'm going to show you how I like to paint these items that can get real messy. Well, you see that I made a mess there with the paint, but I'm talking about my fingers. I like to use these clamps to hold on to things, and so then I'll do a full paint, and I'll even stand them up like that. Yeah. Okay, so here it is, nice and dry, and this one is the rub-on transfers, which are really pretty too. So I decided to use the word whatever. So I'm just gonna peel the transfer piece off and place it on my flower, and I'm going to scrape this thing, and I'm going to scrape this thing, and I'm not going to show you everything because it was a little bit much. But I finally get it to where looks kind of decent, and so I peel off the front, and let me show you how it looks once I peel it off. Look at that. What a mess. So now I'm going to go in with this gold marker from the Dollar Trees. It's actually for glass, but hey, it works for wood too because it did a great job. So I'm just going to fill in all the letters with this, and that works good enough for me. So now I'm going to give this flower a stem, and I'm just taking the base piece of those peonies and I'm putting some of the tube meshing on it, and I'm going to add a dab of glue so it'll stay, and I'll hold it with my clamps, allow that to dry. In the meantime, I'll go in with the Waverly chalk pen in the color ink again, and I'll do a dry brushing on this flower. Is my stem nice and dry, and I'm going to add a huge glob of glue on top, and making sure I don't burn my hand because this is a lot of glue. And I'm just going to adhere it to the back of the flower, and once it's dry, now it's ready to go into the pot. And so I'll place it inside the pot. So this is going to be the flower's little message to the witch with the Waverly chalk pen in the color ink, and I'm going to paint it up on the outside and a little bit on the inside, just the rim. until it looks like this. And look at that. It looks like a cauldron. Yes. Looks like a cast iron cauldron. So now I'm going to take some of these glass stones from my stash and some of this enamel paint by Folk Art that's also for glass. And I'm going to paint them all up like this. Okay, so now I'm going to add my little stones in here. So I had shown 4 stones, but I actually did 8 because it needed a little bit more than 4. So here I'm adding all these little stones. And since these stones are glass, and since the enamel paint was for glass, we can light this up. Well, I'd like to take a moment and say thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch my video. Hope you saved it. That way you can watch it from time to time and get ideas, inspiration on these DIYs. I wanted to do one compilation video of all my Halloween DIYs for you guys, so they'll be in one place. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. Until my next video, stay healthy, safe, and strong, and have a great, great day. Happy Halloween! Bye-bye.